Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, we're here on Atheist Edge, celebrating our 5,000th subscriber of the show. Woo! So we're gonna have some shenanigans. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk to some people. We've got some very special guests on the show tonight. We're live. We are drinking. We're having a bit of a party over here. It's a momentous celebratory occasion. So let me, without further ado, go down the list of the very special guests that we have for the show today. If I'm going to start from left to right, we have Anti-Ordinary on the show tonight. We have FairWhisper on the show tonight. We have Melody of Scientist Mel tonight. We have Mr. Steve McRae of the Non Sequitur Show. And we've got various hosts of the Atheist Edge. We've got Chris. We've got Jim. I'm here. Courtney's out. She's getting us some Chinese food. So we're gonna have a little bit of a fun time tonight. We're gonna celebrate the fact that we have so many awesome, loyal fans and watchers of the show. We're gonna pay tribute to some of the people along the way who have helped us get to this point. We are going to thank our patrons. We are going to thank the people that have worked with us over these last couple of years. And without further ado, I am going to actually now give the broadcast over to Mr. Steve McRae, who is fresh off a debate on his channel, and we're going to let him describe that and tell us and debrief us on how that went. So without further ado, Steve, if you would let us know what went on with that.
Well, first, I want to congratulate you on 5,000, and I'm very happy to find out that Jim, as a Marine, can count to 5,000. So yes. I'm very, very happy for that.
Yeah.
That was our military rivalry. Wow. Navy Marines. We pay you guys, remember. So no, hey, congratulations. You guys have done an amazing job. You have amazing guests on. I love the format of your channel. I love the type of
thank you, man. We really
topics you have. So yeah, I'm a huge fan, and I do watch it occasionally. No, I watch most of your episodes, and yeah, I think I was one of your earlier guests. So you've been around for a while. But as far as my debate, it wasn't on my channel. It was on Modern Day Debates channel, and it was with the Duke, or a guy named the Duke, who wanted to discuss the usages and the validity of terms like atheism and agnosticism. And of course, if you've watched it, he didn't fare very well. He wasn't prepared. I prepared for several weeks, just like I do for any debate. I think that clearly, I didn't have ability to choose who I could debate. I just picked anybody that said that they were willing to do, and he stepped up to the plate. However, I just recently challenged David Silverman, and so we'll see if David Silverman wants to take Duke's place for the next time, because Duke wanted to debate again, and I just didn't feel like that'd be a fruitful discussion if he just didn't know the topic very well. So I think David obviously does know the topic. We have an actual disagreement, and I think that that's something that would be more interesting to actual debate.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Any highlights you want to hit? I mean, you're welcome to let us know.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, most of the debate was just me spent trying to explain him concepts. When somebody has a debate and they say something along the lines of, well, I don't know anything about philosophy, then I'm like, why would you want to debate the topic? This was clearly a philosophical conversation. This was clearly something that you have to have some kind of reading of the material, at least familiarity with the material. He didn't bother to read any paper. He didn't read anything about the topic. He just went in guns a-blazing about parroting what he has learned off some kind of atheist YouTube video. And I think that's something that's detrimental to atheism. People can disagree, obviously, but if you're going to have an agenda, if you're going to have a movement, if you're going to have a thing that you want to promote, you should at least be familiar with the topic. And so atheists, when they go into these discussions, and if they're going to go into discussion with me and get destroyed, what is it going to look like when they go against a theist, right? If a theist is well versed in these things, and a lot of theists go out of the way to really study these things in depth, right? And there are Thomists out there. There's people that are Aristotelian. They know a lot about these types of topics, more so than I do when it comes to theology, because I'm not a theologian. I don't really bother with that side of the conversation. but a lot of it does deal with philosophy. And you watch a lot of times atheists get destroyed by presuppers because presuppers use philosophy in a very cudgel kind of way, a manipulative kind of way to make white belt atheists look foolish. And I see atheists step right into that, right? And now they're starting to learn, hey, maybe we should learn about these topics so we don't look bad in the eyes of the theist. Because as a non-believer, right, I think it's if somebody else is looking really bad, it kind of reflects poorly on all the non-believers, right? I may not consider myself to be an atheist, but I am a non-believer, and I think that's what the narrative needs to be put out. That's the solidarity. None of us believe in gods. We have reasons why we don't believe in gods,
Right.
And I think that's the key, because when it comes to the bigger pictures, when it comes to the anti-woo, when it comes to the anti-pseudoscience, when it comes to the anti homeopathy and all those things, we're all on board, right? There's not a single one of us that says, hey, yeah, you know what, you get sick, let's go to the local drugstore and get some homeopathic medicine. Never going to happen, right? So I think that's the thing that as a community we are focusing on more, and I think that I'm happy that a lot of the people have watched the debate and came across with that narrative. And I actually had numerous people say, you know what, I've actually changed my mind on this position. You've actually convinced me, Steve. So that's the highest thing I could probably get as a compliment, that I've actually changed minds, even though I couldn't change Duke's mind. I did on my first debate. I changed a younger creationist mind. He left younger creationism after our debate. I consider that a win. So.
What did he say? What would be the Richard Carrier thing?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of waiting with bated breath for you to kind of sum up, or at least like go into like the conclusion, what we got out of you and the Richard Carrier exchange.
The written debate.
The written.
You talk about that, Steve.
Yeah.
Well,
what happened with that, and like what was the ultimate like takeaway?
Well, Richard Carrier had set up a Facebook page for a one-on-one conversation just between him and I, which is hard to do on Facebook. You want people tend to see a post and they want to chime in, but he made it very clear any post will be removed. And I don't think anybody has. I don't know if he's removed post or not, but this was set up for him and I. And David McGinnis had actually gone through and made it into an easily readable format, and I have that in a document, and so I'll be linking that on my webpage eventually, and I put it on my Facebook page, I think, or if not, I will. And it's for anybody who wants to go read it. It's basically Carrier and I discussing these terminology. He's not disagreeing with me, it seems. I mean, we agree on most things. I think we're
to act like he's not in disagreement with you, but when he really is.
Well, Carrie has a way. Okay, I like Richard. Don't get me wrong, but
man,
I will say this, because this is common. Everybody says the same thing. I hear this from a ton of people. Carrier does use a lot of sophistry. Carrier has a way of not really solidifying his position and making it so he's putting you in the defensive, asking you questions, and so he does play a game a little bit of gotcha. I get that, right? And anybody who's ever engaged Carrier knows this going in, right? But he hasn't been able to do that with me, and I think it's a challenge, right? I think that if I can still hold my own and answer his questions and still show that his what he's arguing, if he's arguing it isn't really valid per se, but I mean, again, we're not really disagreeing on it much. We're having a very detailed semantic argument, and we're using terminology like common versus elvish, right? Elvish would be the high language, and common would be, everyday, hey, atheist speak. And I think and he uses a lot about probabilities too. But yeah, it's not really a debate. It's more of just we're sussing things out. But it's fascinating because, like I said, I really like engaging Richard because he is sophistic, and I'm not good at sophistry. And it's a challenge when you go against somebody who's a master at it. And TJ, I think you know what I'm talking about. You must have already,
because I'm like the least sophistic person out there.
Could you guys? Could you tell the
engage in no sophistry?
Could you remind the dumb marine what sophistry is?
Flowery language to play down the more objectionable aspects of a concept.
Oh, just try
to use words to downplay the negative connotations of certain concepts.
So, like the best sophistry was like Jonathan Swift. He wrote a thing called The Modest Proposal back in the day. So he wrote about eating babies because they were having an Irish famine and potatoes, and so he was being a little bit sophistic in his writings. But it's using just more. You're basically arguing something that is wrong to try to make a point.
know it's wrong, but you're trying to downplay the
exactly.
aspect of it.
Yeah.
So like when a Christian says hermeneutics or exegesis, when they really just mean interpretation.
Hermeneutics is all hermeneutics means is a method of learning.
Yeah, but
That's
a
all.
lot of people interchange hermeneutics and exegesis. They're just trying to use
When they
flowery
say,
language that they think you don't know about. When they're just trying to say, this is my interpretation.
yeah, when they say I'm going to use the term hermeneutics in a way that makes you think I'm saying something very profound. Yes, that is a form of sophistry. Yes.
All right. Steve, what else? I thought I gave you 15 to 20 minutes to talk about this. Your recent debate, the Richard Carrier thing. What else? There's something you wanted to talk to me, and we debated whether or not we were going to say it offline or on the air. So let's hit that.
Yeah. Okay. So recently you had Matt Dillahunty on, and people know he's gone on numerous channels to discuss me in various ways. And I want to go on record. I have nothing against Matt. I think Matt has done an incredible job for the atheist community. He wants to read things. I think he's changed his position. He's willing to change positions, and so I really have a lot of respect for Matt. And what happened was really people talking past each other back when, and I think that. I don't think he was really arguing against my arguments. So I wanted to make a point because he said a few things. So he made a point in your video that if you don't make a claim, you don't have a burden of proof, which I vehemently disagree with him on. If you reject something, if you don't accept something, right? Rejection normally means that you think it's the opposite. But if you merely don't accept a claim, you still have to have reasons. You still have to have a burden of proof, because burden of proof is actually burden of justification. It is the reasons why you hold or do not hold a position. And since it is a dichotomy, I believe or I do not believe, those are both positions. Both of them require a burden of proof. And all that means is why you believe or why you don't believe. That is epistemically how it is. That is, in epistemology, you want to be rational in your beliefs as much as possible. You can't have irrational beliefs, like properly basic beliefs or what we call faith-based commitments. And I'm fine with that. I think we all have irrational beliefs, some things that we believe without actually having evidence one way or another, like is reality external or internal? Any evidence to one is evidence for the other. We just have to make a decision on what we want to believe, philosophically speaking. He actually said he didn't like my flow chart where I started with God. Does God exist? He said I should start with a proposition. The people that I've talked to in philosophy disagree with that, because the question has been for thousands of years, does God exist? That is the great debate question. That has been the question for ages.
I think the question has been, does this God exist?
No, because it's any God, right? I mean, people can be low.
No. There's people have always had their ideas of what a God is or who that God is. And the question has always been, this is my God and this is the one that's true.
You got to nail down exactly what you're talking about before you can get started.
Exactly. The normative definitions of God has usually been this amorphous, nebulous thing.
Yeah, I disagree with that. But let me finish this out. Then we get into the actual topic if you want to discuss it more. But I'll be after they do their thing. But no, the question actually is more global. Is there any type of God out there? That's what people really want to know. I mean, as people like myself, who's a non-resistant non-believer, I'm not going around saying, does this particular God exist or that particular God exists? I just want to know, is there a God in my ontology? So I'm really more curious if that question is, a true or you're no. Yes, if you're a theist, no, then you're an atheist. And of course, you're unable to answer the question. You're basically saying, I have doubt that I'm not convinced there's a God, right? It's not saying a lack of knowledge. Ordinary doubt is not the same thing as lack of knowledge. When I say I do not know, I'm not expressing I do not have knowledge of the topic or I don't know P. What I'm expressing is I am undecided. I have lack of conviction, and I just cannot place a particular value on that proposition, or in this case, answer the question. It is an indirect question to a direct question, right? You can say yes or no, which are two direct answers. But myself, I can't answer that question yes or no. Does God exist? And some the people that can call themselves like weak atheist or lack of belief atheist, they can't answer that question yes or no, right? They would literally say, I don't have a way to answer that question. So,
which is the literal dispossession of a belief, by the way.
Okay, so
what Crazy Jesse says in the chat, until you define the concept of a God.
Crazy Jesse is correct.
well, God could be. You can go. We've had thousands of years of discourse on the deity. If people don't know what a concept of a God is, and they're behind the curve, they can't get involved in a conversation with two people do have a meeting of the minds and have a concept. Like if I have a concept with Jim and I say, Jim, let's talk about God. Him and I can discuss that topic. If somebody else says, I don't know what God means, then they're not really privy to the conversation, and they need to go formulate what they mean by God. I can have
Or
that
they're
conversation.
Well, I don't
intellectually
understand
honest.
how you
I have-
can be undecided
Or
that
they're intellectually
any
dishonest.
of the concepts of God out there
Well, let me get
would
this out with
be
Matt first, if I may, because I only
possible.
got 15, 20 minutes to my time. And then if anybody wants to discuss it back and forth, I'm happy to. But I know I have a concept of God, all right? I have my ability to think that the proposition does God exists is actually a well-formed proposition that's truth apt.
That
right?
your concept of God is descriptive
Ralph,
of everyone's concept of
I'm
God.
happy to have a
is non
conversation with
sequitur.
you. I will spend hours with you, but I want to get this out because I only got 20 minutes. So Matt had said that agnostics often tell people they're using words wrong. Well, he used that baggage on me. I have never gone around saying that an atheist who's using a specific definition is using it wrong. Right and wrong are value judgments. What I have argued from day one is that atheists who say there is only one definition, like the American atheists have said, atheism is only a lack of belief. There's nothing more to it. That's the only definition. I've argued that words are polysemous, that they have more than one definition. And in academics, you can go read the literature. And if you read a paper, the paper 99% of the time is going to use the word atheism in the positive epistemic status or the positive case that God does not exist. So if you want to read that paper correctly, that's how you would interpret it, meaning that it does have another definition. American atheist doesn't recognize that. So all I'm arguing is that there's more than one definition. So I don't argue that words have a specific definition. And it's very similar to like if creationists are using the word kind. I don't use the word kind, right? I'm not going to go into a creationist group and start using the word kind merely because they do, because kind is not found in the literature. And the way most atheists use the word atheist, they're more than welcome to do that. I've never argued that they can't, but that's not how it's found in the literature. That's not found in the academics that much. And so I use the more stricto version, the sensu stricto, which would be a more precise, less vague use of these terms. I'm allowed to do that, but I have atheists tell me that I'm not. And I think that's a little discouraging because they're literally saying you can't use academic meanings of words or understandings of words. And then Matt says that you either believe that you don't believe, which in classical logic is the case, but just because you don't believe does not by necessity mean that you are an atheist. It is a necessary but not sufficient condition. And I think that more and more atheists have to understand that because they're making claims that atheism is merely just a lack of belief. And as I tell people, if it's not that way in the literature, you can't make that statement because that statement is clearly false. But anyways, like I said, Matt. One more thing. He blocked me on Facebook for a post that I had. And Jim, I'm going to send you the post if I may.
That I told him to his face. I don't agree with that. I don't think it's conducive to open dialogue. So I did definitely openly side with you on that one.
Well, it was really strange because, first of all, who blocks over a Facebook post that he wasn't even tagged in?
Well, his explanation was he's a different kind of animal because he's a public figure. He gets bombarded with a lot of different things, and he likes to answer them. So he
wasn't tagged in this post.
He said, "Don't take it personally." He just selectively blocks people that he would normally want to respond to, but he has too many people to respond.
But that was for Twitter. This was a Facebook post that he wasn't tagged into that I just sent you. That he had this post. That wasn't. I just sent you the wrong one.
Oh, okay.
Hang on, I sent you the wrong thing. The post that he's talking about. Let me get it real quick. Was that what I basically said was I even said I'm not making appeal to authority. What I'm doing is saying that I have a lot of well-educated people that are sustaining my position, that are affirming my position to be the case. And yes, some of them are philosophers. He said none of them are philosophers. That's incorrect. I've had Graham Alpe on my show. I've talked to Alex Malpass. He knows that. I've talked to numerous philosophy people. So to say that I don't, not including philosophers, that he's incorrect. Now there was a biochemist, there was an astrophysicist, but my goal was to show that if if a lot of people that are agreeing with me, that means that at least my arguments are intelligible, is even what I said in the post. Is something along the lines that my arguments are coherent, because I have people that are in these other positions, right? And I mentioned, 5 kind of mundane jobs. Not saying that, and I even posted in there, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with these positions, but none of them are academic scholars to the point where they, I think, should be saying my posts are word salad. Right? Because they're evaluating from the position of, they've even said, and the people that I was just talking about, referring to, most of them have said, I hate philosophy. I've never read a paper on it. And yet they're saying that my posts are word salad and my arguments are vacuous. And so my simple argument on my post was, well, why is it that these people that are very well educated seeming to be able to understand my argumentation, and yet these other people are not? And who would you rather listen to, kind of thing? And we would apply that in any kind of thing. Mel has an education. She's a master's degree. Would you rather listen to her about science? Or would you rather listen to a gardener that says, screw science, right? I mean, you have to make certain types of decisions when you're listening to people that at least have read upon the topic.
You can't hang your justification for why you think your argument,
which I wasn't, and I even put that in there.
Smart people,
right? And I even put that in there. I even said at the very bottom that I am not appealing to authority. I'm not saying because these people agree with me that I'm right. I put that in there knowing that somebody would take it out of context, and Matt still took it out of context. Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
TJ's driving the bus, so.
Oh, so we have
wheels on the bus go round and round. Can I drink now?
Yeah, you can.
Yes, sir.
You can drink all you want.
Oh, you got to pick out which one. Pick one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Decide for me. I'm indecisive. I'm agnostic. I can't decide.
The more percentage.
Oh, I like the way you think. 35 versus.
And we are going to throw it over to Mel at some point. She has something.
Let's do Mel right after the.
Yeah,
I will mute and sit here and drink for a few before I got to go.
I'm chill, man. I'm wearing my Pixie shirt from last night with an epic concert, so I'm cool. Whenever you get to me, you get to me.
So.
Get in here, Courtney's stuff in her face, and she doesn't want to be on camera yet.
So we have. So Fair and Auntie, just kind of like I don't care who goes first. If somebody wants to speak up and start.
Can I preface this because I know a little bit more about it? It was a little Twitter. Okay, so Atheist Edge, we've carved a niche in the atheist community as being the channel, the neutral space. That any, from time to time, atheists will have disagreements, and sometimes it can blow out of proportion. And we have about a 95% track record of bringing them back together. And we're going to end up. And don't you take down our 95% success rate tonight?
Don't mess it up.
Yeah. By the end of this, I want you to dancing around the bonfire naked and taking a warm shower and fingering each other in the buttholes.
Wow.
So that's what we're going to be at. I want a kumbaya little bongo drums after this. So this was a Twitter feud, and we're going to put an end to it right now. Whoever wants to start.
Take it away.
Screen sharing is on.
Okay. Whoever starts first, the other person has to listen. So don't say anything.
So I think, although it took place on Twitter, I do think it's a little bit more than a Twitter feud because of the topic that it's regarding, and it is a personal topic. It's not something that's a frivolous discussion we were having. We were talking about rape and sexual assault, and I'll leave you to start whatever you would like, however you would like to take this discussion.
All right. Well, I think that you were trying to make an inspirational post, I guess, but that is not how it came across to me, which is why I responded the way I did. And when I did, I was immediately cursed out by you. And I'm just gonna read the 2 tweets that you posted, and I'm gonna maybe explain in that why I responded the way that I did. And what you posted was, so are we just pretending people can't get over anything anymore? And then you say, I've been raped and sexually assaulted multiple times by different people. To say it was a difficult experience would be an understatement, but believe it or not, I got over it. You can get over it. And then you said, if you don't manage to get over it, your abuser has won, and I won't allow it. I will move on with my life having learned lessons, and I won't continue to look back to it because I'm over it and I deserve happiness, not to drag up pain and suffering. So, yes, it's a heavy subject, but the way that this comes across to me is, and I know you already expressed that you don't mean just get over it, but at the same time, it's a very short 2 tweets, and it's way more nuanced than that. And you can't just, there's 2 things that happened here. One was that you said an abuser has won if someone is still suffering because of the abuse that they have experienced, but you don't just go, that's not something, that's hard work to get over that suffering. So that's why I said that, because the way it came across was like it was just from one step to the next. And that's why I said you are kidding yourself if you think that.
Okay, well, if you wanted to have a nuanced read on rape and sexual assault survivors, I don't think Twitter's the right place to go for that. Twitter's a place to go to hear people's opinions and short, brief snippets of their experience. And you have very brief characters in tweets. One, it wasn't an inspirational post. It was just me sharing my experience. And I've come across a lot of attitudes, both in my life and online, of people that have a mentality that when you are an abuse survivor, that it is a lifelong struggle and that you essentially don't get over it. You just learn to live with it. And I think that's a really unhealthy mentality. And I just wanted to express that I feel, at least, I know you seem to doubt that, but I feel at least that I have got over it. I also want to address the way you read that. That just seems like a whole lot of projection. Anyone can read any post with like such a snarky like way of reading it to make it come across as a bitchy thing I was saying. I was literally
your response to me when I responded to you, because in my tweet back to you,
I can admit that was bitchy.
Yeah, and I feel like my answer
intentionally so.
Yeah, but I was explaining to you through your short tweet that this is how this comes across because you are making a short tweet about it. You could have made a long tweet about it because you can add tweets to your tweets. Well, and also I do think that like it's nice that you whatever you went through you got over and that you found a way to do that. I would be curious to know if you had any type of process in that, because I'm gonna stay with my statement that you're kidding yourself if you didn't go through any type of process. And for some people, depending on what the abuse was, it is a lifelong thing. So it's not so like, because the way it's coming across is you're like, oh well, that person is just feeling sorry or something like that, where the things that I have been through as far as this is concerned, I've had a year of emotion deregulation skills training. I've had many years of martial arts practice, which helps me to deal with it. In the beginning, after it happened, because it wasn't a multiple times by different people thing, it was a month and a half long of being held against my will. And to the point where I had to develop a form of Stockholm syndrome to get out of the situation.
Okay, yeah, you don't need to make assumptions about my abuse, and we don't need to go into specifics about each other's abuse. I like how like you're very minimizing about your tweets in response to mine, but you like to over exaggerate my tweets. So in your tweets, you made an implication that I may not have gone through what I was claiming to go through.
No, I didn't. Not at all.
You did. You said if you have gone through what you're saying you've gone through, Why would I be tweeting it if I
I'm
hadn't
gonna
gone through it?
screen
Why would
share.
I be lying?
I didn't say that. I'm gonna screen share so people can
Go
see
ahead.
what I said.
Go
I never
ahead.
said that. It's not letting me share though.
Okay, well, I'm sure
Okay, I
can get the
didn't say
tweet.
that. If that's what you thought I said, that is not what I said. What I
Well,
said
if
was,
you can get the
if
tweet
you
up, go on, honey.
if you went through that, then you are kidding yourself to say you
If
just
you
got
really,
over it.
if I
You
can
just
remember
got over
correctly,
it, like
you
it was
said if you really did go through something like that, you're kidding yourself if you
Okay,
haven't had
I
treatment to
read
get
her
over
two
it.
tweets. Now I'm going to read my answer since it won't let
ahead.
me share. I said, usually therapy helps, but I think it is quite extreme to state, get over it. If you actually have been through those things and you are over it, you must have worked very hard and gone through grueling processes to do so. Otherwise, you are likely kidding yourself about it and kidding yourself about being over it. And then you started cursing me out.
Yeah, because don't you understand when someone's coming onto a platform like Twitter and sharing their personal experience about rape and sexual assault, that you leaving a tweet that has an implication that I could somehow be lying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you went through that and you're saying you just got over it,
If I went through that,
yes, that's
well,
a
I did
figure
go
of
through that. There isn't an if about it.
right.
I went
Then
through
if
that.
you are saying you just got over it and you
I
are
didn't
over
say
it,
that either. You are
Okay.
then manipulating my statements to make them seem more radical than they actually are. I said
No.
you can get over it. I said I have got over it, and I said people can get over it. I never
whole
said
tweet
I
starts,
never said
and you said
just
your
get
abuser
over it,
has won.
and I never
So
said how
it's
someone
not
would
realistic.
proceed about getting
First
over
of
it.
all, the abuse victims or victims of rape are not in a competition with their abuser.
Well, what
So
the fuck
the
are you
abuser,
reading, honey?
so saying your
Can I
abuser
jump
has
in,
won.
guys? Can I jump in? It looks like we're agreeing about 90% of the way. I think we're a little bit talking past each other. I think the bigger problem is maybe this is kind of, what's it called? Hashtag this is biggerism or whataboutism?
This is biggerism.
Or whataboutism? I think you're saying, okay, this happened to you, but you're making it look like it's more than what other people go through. You're trying to
No, she's saying that she's sensationalizing her tweets, but downplaying her own tweets. That's what the problem is.
It's not about the tweet. It's
That's what she's
about what
I'm just saying.
No. That was only one. That was only one of my problems.
Immediately started cursing me out. So
that's my personality. I'll curse you out, especially if you go into question my claims of
it's my
rape and
personality.
sexual
If
abuse.
I did okay. If you thought that I was saying you didn't go through that, that's not what I said. But
I think that's where we can find some common ground.
Right. But at the same time, the way that you placed your tweet to begin with, like you said, it's a public forum, and you're coming up in my feed constantly because of people who we have the same, right? And so at a certain point, and then I saw this, so I responded, and this is how I genuinely feel about it. If you are saying, and if, I guess I'm using the word if wrong, I live in Holland. I've been raised most of my life in Holland. I've traveled a lot. So maybe I don't speak perfect English, but when you go through something like that, you don't, and you are over it, like you say, there is a long, grueling process involved with getting over that. So
but you made the assumption. This is another contention I have with this. In my tweets, it in no way says what journey or what path someone is going to take to get over that abuse they have gone through. It simply said, there is hope, you can get over it. That's all it said. Did I say you need to get therapy? Did I say anything else? No. And as soon as you brought up this issue with me in the next tweet,
better if you had said something to what you did to do that rather than just throwing out.
soon as you brought that up to me in the next tweet, I said that you need treatment, and then I cussed you out at the very end. I said, "Yeah, and fuck off," or "fuck you, cunt," or some shit.
No,
That's
in
why.
the next minute, yes, that's right. That once I had told you my response to it, that's when you said you definitely have to do something, basically, to get to that place. So I don't understand why.
Basically. See, do you know what? You're just so manipulative.
I don't understand. If you agree with the fact of what I was saying, then why are you calling me an absolute cunt? Because you agree.
For going into question for assuming the implications of my tweet, for assuming I was simply implying just get over it, for implying that I could potentially be lying about my claims. All of those reasons are enough reasons for me to call you a cunt.
That you were lying about your claims. I didn't imply that you were lying about your claims.
Well,
what I did imply is that there's no getting
English.
over something like that without a process. And
yeah,
I
but that
feel
was
like
okay.
I still feel like your tweet is you're free to post whatever you want on Twitter, as I am free to respond and post whatever I want on Twitter. And the things that I tweet obviously can be misinterpreted as well, because you've misinterpreted my response to you. But I
haven't heard from.
We're muted.
Oh,
sorry,
my bad.
He didn't know we were not muted.
I did not know I was not muted. Sorry, my bad. Go continue.
Okay. So yeah, you're gonna post what you're gonna post, and at the same time, I have the right to respond. And I didn't say anything. Okay, you misunderstood that you thought I was questioning whether or not you'd been through that. I wasn't questioning whether or not you had been through that. I was questioning you being over it, at the point where you have nothing between I've been through that and I'm over it. I'm questioning whether you're over it. You understand? So that's why
I don't understand that. I don't understand that. How it came across to me. How it came across.
If you don't understand that, then I am going to start to question.
I really don't give a fuck, honey. Are you going to keep interrupting me, or am I going to sit here silent while you chat shit about all this, and then every time I speak, you're going to jump in?
Screen share, otherwise I would screen share it for you.
Yeah, it's convenient, that, isn't it? It's really convenient, that.
Shameless self-shill. Everybody
screen share should be
follow Anti-Ordinary, so you can see our Twitter.
It should be screen share enabled. I don't know why it's not working. Listen, let me try to distill this a little bit. If we could first, right off the bat, eliminate now hindsight is 2020, of course, but if during the course of this, if we could have eliminated the hostility and the name calling, would that have been a little more productive? Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, right. Like calling each other the same word and whatnot. And, I can see both sides of this argument. And I think we both
call a spade, right? If you behave a certain way, I'm going to call you it. That's
not how I behave. And that's all you want is to throw back and forth insults towards people. Then that's
the thing. I find that really cute. I find it absolutely fucking.
Anytime I'm confronted with you, I'll finish my sentence with "bitch." Is that good?
Yeah, that is good. I don't care. Treat me how I treat you, bitch. Feel free. I don't care. I'm not that
listen, guys. Courtney, what do you have?
Well, I don't know if you guys can see me.
Yeah, they can see you.
They can see you.
Well, I haven't read any of this stuff, and I'm not on Twitter, so I don't really know much about the etiquette. I think that is it Nancy?
Anti. He keeps saying anti.
Oh, I saw.
Anti-ordinary.
So we have anti
and FairWhisper.
Who had the original tweet, and then you have the response.
Anti was the original tweet.
And it won't let me share the tweet, so it won't let me share my screen. So.
Well, I think what's happening though is, I think it doesn't. I don't know. I think that there is a legitimate interpretation from the response to the original tweets that it was calling into question the legitimacy of the claim. And so I think that Anti is not wrong by assuming that that's what was said, and she has the right to say respond in any way that she wants to. But I don't think that it was a good, I don't think it was a calming discourse to start using profanity against the other person.
Was it a
but at the same
miscommunication?
time, if it makes you angry, then it makes you angry.
We've already established that she misinterpreted what I was saying.
I didn't
because I
establish
clearly
that.
said,
That's what you've just
this is what I
established
said.
that for yourself.
Using therapy helps, but I think it is quite extreme to state, get over it. If you actually have been through those things and you are over it,
I do think
worked very hard and gone through grueling processes to do so. Otherwise, you are like,
but I don't think
yourself.
you can tell people how they can respond to their own abuse. I think that both of you have
We're not
gone
trying
through.
to.
I think both of you have gone through things, and I think that you have the right to respond to the way that you've gone through that in whatever way works for you. And so I don't think that there's a lot of assumptions made on both sides about like how another person should be responding to their own trauma. But I do think a lot of the wrongdoing in that part is coming from the second person. What's her name?
FairWhisper.
FairWhisper. I respect you, but I think that for one thing, if someone interpreted your tweet in a way that you don't agree with, then clarifying it is good, but not assuming that they're doing something wrong against you by having their own interpretation of what you said. And I think
that's what she did. That's exactly what she did. That's not what I did.
Can I ask something? FairWhisper, do you believe her original statement, her original tweet?
Okay, let me go and
do you find it plausible a transgender female in the UK getting abused in this manner?
Of course. That's not what the
this is where I think we're talking past each other. I think you're legitimately aware of the trials and tribulations that she goes through. And I think
Anti is getting a little annoyed that FairWhisper is claiming there's a misinterpretation when there isn't.
No, there is.
That is the case. That's exactly the case.
Because I would have interpreted it that way as well. What you were saying was that because you've gotten over your abuse in a certain way, that I don't believe that you've either gone through the process to heal that abuse, or that
not what I said. I just read it to you twice. I read you my tweet.
Okay. What about the English language? What about the English language? Don't you understand that when you make this statement, if you have actually gone through that, how does that not imply some sort of doubt or a possibility that I'm not lying about the statement?
That is longer than five words. That's why, because the sentence doesn't finish there. The tweet does not finish there, and.
When you read it,
you understand the English language well enough to actually tweet something that doesn't project onto millions of others.
I think you're the one projecting, and I'm not going to go into question. I'm not going to go into question what you're personally working through. I'm just feeling a whole lot of projection right now. And when this initial response came through, I just felt as though the fact that someone had quite openly said that they got over sexual abuse, sexual assault, didn't even specify how, just said they have got over it. That was such a
all right, guys.
You were projecting onto other people what they should do.
That was such a radical. Can you let me finish a fucking sentence? This is why I swear, bitch. Let me finish a sentence.
I'm gonna put a bow on this. I gotta put a bow on this. Listen.
Wait. But Anti hasn't been able to speak a whole lot, so let her finish what she said.
Just final thoughts on each of you. Anti-ordinary, you go first. I got some final thoughts.
As I was saying, I think that the fact that I said that I got over it was such an inconceivable concept to you that I must be lying about having gone through the abuse because you don't just get over it. And I never once said I just got over it.
That is not what my tweet said. That is not what my tweet
Wait. Guys.
Now, FairWhisper, final thoughts.
That is not what my tweet said. That is not my issue. My issue has to do with telling other people how they should be about the things that they went through.
I never did.
Okay, now my final thought. Listen, everyone here feels empathy for it, whether I know at least one of us here, I'll go ahead and say it. I have been a victim as well, and I got through it. That's not to say that it can't be, that it's the same for everyone else.
No, it's never the same for everyone.
I think FairWhisper agrees with me. I think everyone here agrees with me. We have empathy for anti-ordinary, what she went through. We have empathy for anyone that has been a victim of sexual harassment or sexual assault. I think that FairWhisper thinks the exact same thing. I think we're just talking past each other. And my final thought is, with that said, in the future, can we at least keep a civil dialogue on social? You two are more or less public figures. People see you, you're influencers. Can we keep it civil dialogue on social media from here on out and at least limit the name calling and try to understand each other?
I'm sorry, I just find it, I understand what you're saying. I find it humorous that the name calling is the most egregious offense, the swear words, the cussing. We're adults. We're adults. If you get swore at, that's like not a big deal. It's the internet.
Words into my mouth. You can go in and look at this after the fact, and you can see that the whole time she's putting words. You're putting words in my mouth.
Okay, feel free to read it. I asked you to screen share, honey. You didn't do that. That's not my business.
I don't think she's able to. In her defense, I don't think she's able to. I don't know what's going on.
You need to go in and watch this after the fact and see how many times you put words in my mouth in this conversation.
Okay.
We do appreciate you guys though coming on.
And you'll probably feel good about it.
So yeah. So it's over. Oh, okay.
You're driving the bus.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to put a bow on this.
We have to.
In the future, I just want to see you.
We have to move along.
I don't necessarily need to see you two dancing around the campfire naked together, but maybe we can tone it down a little. And I'm not saying the name calling is the most egregious thing, but that's a starting point. And I think 90% of the time, 90% of this conversation, you're agreeing with each other. That's the funny part. Yeah. I think that if you keep it civil, the dialogue will come. Yes?
We learn more along the lines of the places where
I would just like to.
I'm going to call this a success. I think that
no,
I didn't. I fucking am.
I just want to say before I leave, congratulations on the 5K, you guys. You're nearly at 6K. You'll be there soon. Congratulations.
I really feel like
5K. Have a sip.
YouTube.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Steve. YouTube. I have very optimistic thoughts for the future, and I hope we got at least cleared the air a little bit. And I think you both can see where the other side's coming from a little more. I have some strong opinions on both sides, but as long as you two can keep an open, civil dialogue in the future, we've done our job. Okay, on to the
So
next
here
thing.
we go. We're going to shift gears. We're going to probably drop the damn transmission out of this motherfucker and doing it.
So here we go.
We're going to hard shift and hard focus on scientist Mel for a moment.
Oh, Lord.
Thank goodness.
We're going to ask her if there is anything new and exciting in the realm of science communication that she could enlighten us on that would be interesting for the folks looking at us at home right now.
Okay.
Do you have anything for us?
That's like a giant
That is a
topic.
huge-
All of the science and how to say the things in the words. Pick something. All the things in the words. My show this week in BS is still relatively
tell us
new.
about the show. What's going on in the show this week?
So for this week, I'm having Dragnot. He and I have been investigating. We've been part of an anti-vaxxer Facebook group for a little while. And so there's things that they use for alternatives to vaccines. But they're essentially like pustules and like scrapings and snot and stuff that they make in like an edible form and giving it to people as the alternative to vaccination. So we're gonna talk about that on Thursday.
We call medicine, right? If it works and it's medicine, we just call it medicine. We don't call it.
There's no such thing as alternative medicine.
Well, I mean, it's an alternative to vaccination according to them. But what they're doing is just giving infested snot and scabs and stuff like that to their kids so they can be exposed to it naturally, and actually get the freaking virus instead of, I don't know, vaccination.
Leave it to
Instead
somebody
of, yeah,
call
I don't
this
know,
shit.
using the vaccine that we've proven scientifically to work.
That is pretty much
Shit out.
a non-infectious version of what they're doing.
Is it the
Um,
mercury? Is that what they're bitching about? Or
They're worried about chemicals, but you know they eat it every day.
Oh my God.
You probably get more mercury in a tuna fish sandwich than you would, or in the old fillings. They used to use the old fillings for teeth. You get more mercury in that than you do in a vaccination. So there's that. So I've been doing that every week.
Can I do a quick tangent? This is the perfect person to ask. All right, this has been plaguing me, and I'm probably wrong, so just set the record straight for me because I've got this bias on this. All right, my oldest daughter was dating a boy who had a huge nut allergy. He was born after 1986. Okay. And then I started doing a little just quick layman online research on nut allergies and why it's so prolific nowadays. Do you, first, are you familiar with this? And second, why is it so common now and it didn't used to be prior to 1986? And the reason I ask that is because before 1986, they were adding mercury to the vaccinations, and I'm sorry, not mercury, aluminum in the vaccine. And I'm wondering, I'm not a conspiracy nut. I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
You put your tinfoil hat on here?
No, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I believe in vaccinations, but prior to 1986, when there was aluminum in the vaccinations. I'm sorry, when there was not, when they added aluminum.
Yeah, it was as a preservative.
Once they started adding aluminum in vaccinations, nut allergies went up. Is that a false correlation, or am I just a weirdo?
That's probably a false correlation. What I would say, having been a person who's had food allergies for a month for a period of time, sometimes your immune system can be hypersensitive. And so I do have allergies. And I know that's anecdotal, but I actually went to an allergist. I used to get allergy shots because I had seasonal allergies. And he was in the forefront of the immunotherapy. Now, food allergies are something completely different.
That's totally different. Yeah.
It is totally different. And so I went to the same allergist in my adulthood because for whatever reason, I was allergic to just about everything that I ate. I would eat lettuce and I would get felt like somebody was punching me in the back. I would eat nuts. That would happen. Strawberries, corn. I was allergic to soy, corn, nuts. I had to make certain my fruit was washed. I couldn't eat berries. This was for the course of about 2 months. So for whatever reason, I had become hypersensitive to these foods. So I was miserable. I couldn't eat anything hardly at all for these 2 months, which is it's just a testament to the fact that your immune system, it goes through different phases. And sometimes you can be hypersensitive to a particular food. Now it's more profound in those particular individuals who have allergies to nuts. My brother's allergic to chicken, to eggs, so any kind of poultry, but I'm not. So I think the fact that we see it happening more often is probably because we're identifying it sooner and people aren't getting sick and dying suddenly. We do have the EpiPens now that they can walk around with. I mean, we could argue that the fact we still have bad eyesight, and we have a high prevalence of people with really bad vision, but that's kind of counterproductive to a positive trait that's in our population. So you could look at population genetics. There's a lot of different factors that could play in that. So
just for clarification, these adjuvants they're not sticking in aluminum. They're salts of aluminum, right? Aluminum hydroxide, aluminum phosphate, and a few other additives. So they're not like it's not like sodium chloride is not like sticking sodium in there, right? Sodium chloride is an ionic compound. So these things that they're putting in the vaccines, they're not just putting straight aluminum, they're salts of aluminum.
Oh, no. It's like a type of preservative.
Yeah.
But as far as what I've seen, there hasn't been any correlation between a preservative and an overt reaction that causes allergies. But you know what? I can dig into that and make that one of my topics if you would like on my show. And I can just flesh it all out. Why is there a higher prevalence of that? But we could also, it's just, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know the science on that 100%, but from what I've seen and what I've read in regard to vaccines, the immune system, allergies, that's usually just something that's genetic, and it just pops up in certain families, kind of peppered around a little bit. So I don't know. But I wouldn't think that the preservatives in a vaccine, it's such a small amount for it to have such a systemic type of, you know what I'm saying? I just can't imagine that small, tiny amount of preservative, because we're talking about micrograms or, small amounts of micrograms of those preservatives. I can't imagine that would have such a profound effect on your immune system to cause you to suddenly be allergic to nuts. I don't see how that would correlate.
How would you explain the differences in policy around vaccination, even between European countries and for America or Canada? Because like here they have, what I chose to do with my kids is after doing some research, I realized that some of the cocktails that they give the kids, the actual absolute necessary amount that they give is different than what they actually prescribe here. So, but you can go to your GP instead of to the general place where they do the vaccinations, and the GP can pre-order the vaccinations in the absolute minimum amount, and rather than the maximum amount of the vaccination.
Okay, I'm not certain what you mean by that. So you have people that alter the dosage of the vaccination based on personal request?
Well, it's not like you could say, oh, I only want the diphtheroid or instead of the whatever rubella. You have to still get those vaccinations.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying,
there's like a dosage they give. Just generally for when a kid is a baby, they give it 3 times. When a kid is 4, when a kid is 6, when a kid is 8, when a kid is 12. When in actuality, just to have the vaccination and be vaccinated for it, there's like 2 of those times that you can skip. And,
okay, I don't know what you mean.
But that's what I mean. They spread the vaccinations out differently in different countries.
Okay. I'm not certain what because I haven't looked at as far as the vaccine schedule in other countries, because I don't live in other countries. But we still have, the anti-vaxxer problem, which started in the UK and has spread to different parts of Europe, and then it came over to the US a bit. But they have the schedules are regulated usually by the governments involved. And so I don't know. I don't know what the schedules are for in Holland or in the UK or anything like that. But they're pretty well tested in the US as this being the most effective means of ensuring that you have an immunity to the particular virus based on the vaccine that you get. There are some people who might skip certain shots, but that's not recommended. For the reason is because you have to be exposed to the virus multiple times with certain types of strains in order to effectively keep building up that immunity. And so they spread it out like the Gardasil shot, which is for HPV. You need to be, exposed to the virus 3 separate times within a calendar year. So
we don't have HPV vaccine here.
Oh, you
for
need
kids,
to get that.
not for kids. We don't have, because I think I saw a tweet about chickenpox. Chickenpox is normal here. It's normal here.
So I was going to ask about that. UK doesn't have chickenpox in their regimen.
The varicella. It's the varicella vaccine.
It's available. It is available to them. One of the reasons they say is that it has a higher potential possible of having herpes zoster or shingles later on in life, which is possible, and also changing herd immunity. But I don't often hear people discussing the benefits of having chickenpox, like when the vaccine, because when I was a kid, chickenpox was ridiculous. I had it for about a week. It was the worst experience of my life. I never want anything.
Horrible.
In 1995, I believe they developed a vaccine. Now I don't know if you
Yes.
still get it, so I don't know if it would even do me any good. So I don't get shingles later on.
I mean, you could get it, but since you've been exposed to you've been exposed to the virus, you still have a potential of developing shingles in adulthood.
Yeah, because after I had cancer, because my immune system was low, even though I had the chickenpox as a kid, I still got the shingles because of that, because of the immune system.
And
it's so possible.
And the other thing they don't talk about often that you may want to is mitochondrial diseases. I have a friend who had a child who had mitochondrial diseases, and she actually got awarded a benefit for vaccines that supposedly it causes autism in her child. Now, again, the World Health Organization says there's no convincing evidence that links mitochondrial diseases with the vaccines. However, there's some anecdotal evidence that they're still looking into. I'd like to know more about that if there is anything with mitochondrial diseases to be concerned about with vaccination for kids.
I can look into that. I don't know about that, but I do know I recently, just a few weeks ago, I had a vaccine lawyer on my channel for This Week in BS, and we talked about vaccine law, and he's very, very well versed. He actually wrote this giant book so for Bloomberg. He literally wrote the book in vaccine law. And he just sat there. He talked about, particularly in the US, there is a vaccine injury fund. Everybody who pays for a vaccine, like like 5 to 10 cents go towards the vaccine injury fund. So you can't sue vaccine companies for any kind of thing that and see, in court is different than science. And he gets into that a bit on that particular show, how the burden of proof is vastly different. It's not saying, oh, well, the introduction of this particular vaccine definitely caused autism or the mitochondrial diseases, but they had to show that the addition of that one factor might have contributed to it, but it doesn't have to be directly correlated.
Okay,
so that's a bit different.
Let's stop there. We got Jim wanted to inject.
I'm not doing the pee-pee dance. I just didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, go ahead. But yeah, check out that episode if you want to look at the vaccine law.
Of course. Courtney created this monster. When we were early on in our broadcasting, she really got on me for interrupting, so I will do this. Scientist Mel knows.
Your wife. You're not
and my,
not only did
for
we
interrupting
tell
me.
you about it, but Aria fucking told
Aria,
me about it too.
my wife, and Courtney.
Yeah.
So I don't like to interrupt, but I would just say we got our first outbreak of measles in the state of Texas yesterday or the day before.
Yesterday.
Fucking vaccinate your gut. In fact, I kind of lean on a little bit libertarian a lot of times because of this motherfucker, but in this case, it should be goddamn mandatory to vaccinate.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I think it's a social issue. I mean, you have to put societal concerns. I tend to libertarianism as well, and I believe in liberties. But there is a point where you have to say society has certain things that we establish with as a social contract with our people that living together, and unfortunately, health concerns take precedence, and it overrides your individual belief on things because
you don't have
people dying.
Well, I mean, if you can't get a vaccination because you have an autoimmune disease, or you have a compromised immune system, or you're allergic to the components, that's vastly different. Yes. But at the same time, if you can take a vaccine without any kind of family history associated with vaccine injury or whatever, you should be required to take it, because it's not about body autonomy anymore. That's really not what it's about, because whatever you're doing can affect other people at that point. So you're choosing to not get vaccinated can actually cause a problem for other people.
But
who don't have it.
there's a difference between the measles and the chickenpox, though, because the measles can cause brain damage and things like that, or blindness.
It can kill you.
Viral, really horrible cases of chickenpox, even into adulthood with shingles, can cause sterility in men.
As adults.
Still as adults. So if an adult if adult cannot get the vaccine, the varicella vaccine, and gets exposed to chickenpox, they can become sterile. So it's still an issue.
That's why they have kids getting it, and you
can still get it if you get it when you're a child and you get shingles as an adult. It can still make you sterile.
Yeah. So the way I look at it is, I don't have a right to put other people in danger.
Absolutely.
That's the way. So
Yeah.
it isn't about body autonomy. It is
Right.
about the fact that you are literally putting other people in danger, and you don't have a right
Yes.
to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got
So
someone that
who's-
just came in the
who's-
chat.
Somebody that came in just now.
Who's baby? Can you hear us? Can you
Can
talk?
There?
It's Salisa, yes.
Hi, what's up,
Salisa?
Salisa? All right, let me give you a rundown on Salisa. She's a
didn't
member
realize
of
it was gonna
the
be
Freedom
a
from Religion
video
Foundation
Yes.
here in North Texas chapter, and she just got to do a Q&A with R and Ron Matt Dillhoney when they were in person in our studio. So and she hit the third member of the Unholy Trinity just yesterday. I saw her post a selfie
here.
with Seth Andrews.
Yeah, he was here.
Yeah.
He was here.
Yeah,
left
so-
out.
Yeah, I got to see those two.
She hit all three of the Unholy Trinity in the
Okay.
in the same week.
Good shit.
Okay, glad to have you. Okay, let's get to the
So
next
we're
thing.
gonna continue on. We're gonna, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put up a graphic.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Jim has the graphic ready. There
Bear
are
with
a
me.
lot of people
Bear with me.
that we can thank legitimately for making this show possible. People that have been on the show as guests, to people that have helped in the production of the show. So any of these people that we're showing on the graphic are people that we have had either on the show or have helped with the show and made it the phenomenon that it is now. So
So what we're gonna do now is I hope we didn't miss anyone. This is every person we've had on our show in the last 2 years since we started. And the four of us, where the fuck is Lance? All right, there should be 5 of us right now.
where is
Well,
Lance?
we're going to just go down the list and any notable personalities that funny anecdotes or any funny little thing that you may not know about the guests we've had on.
So we're gonna pick a name, yeah.
And
The Atheist Edge hosts are gonna pick a name, and we're gonna.
And this motherfucker, Steve McRae. No, I'm just joking. I'm joking, Steve.
Steve's
We
off
love
limits because it's too easy
Yep, that's
with
easy.
Steve.
I'm an easy target, special snowflake. Okay.
Can you guys see it? Is it eternal mirror or is it showing right?
No, it's showing correctly, at least on our end.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So all these people.
Let me start.
ahead.
Robert Rowe. If you look at the third line, about halfway down, Robert Rowe is he goes by the moniker of General Han Solo, and it was very early on in our career, and he had me on live. It was, I think, my very first live performance, so to speak, as you will, and I'm not saying he set me up for failure, but he billed it as just a casual discussion. But then he titled it later as "Atheist versus Christian." Atheist gets destroyed. You know.
Oh
And,
no.
no, nothing against him. He's a great Australian surfer guy. He's
No, that is against
He's a
him.
cool
he's,
dude.
he's awesome. He's a great guy. But
He thinks he's
then-
smart.
no, it matured me. It made me realize, okay, this put my game face on, where I had to realize I better come with my A game or not even get online.
Yeah.
So thanks to him. Okay, next, TJ.
My thing was probably, let's see. I hate to say it, but I mean, I'm gonna pander to my own like little fucking echo chamber, but Jason Ellis, that guy, man, I've had so many fucking conversations with that dude. That
Now you're gonna see him on the live chat as someone other than Jason. What does he go by? Also? Ralph. Okay,
I
so
mean,
when
that's
you
his
see
real
him-
first name.
Yeah, man, either name's cool.
Yeah, and he's also
Yeah.
online.
And he's also with us here.
Yeah,
And-
sorry I'm so quiet. My mic is freaking out. So like earlier, I was in chat, and it's got a short or something, I think, in it, because what it's doing is it's turning my volume all the way up on my PC whenever it's plugged into the USB port. So I've got a rather substantial sound system, and when those two gals were yelling at each other, it decided that it was going to crank itself all the way up. And it was literally shaking my house like an earthquake, so I was freaking out, running around, trying to get the damn thing to stop. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, dude. You and I have had conversations to the wee hours, man.
Yeah, Jason is one of my best friends in the whole world, man. I fucking
I appreciate
love
that, man.
talking to the dude and fucking every time I've ever had a conversation with him, it's always fucking enlightened me in some way.
He's way smarter than you and I.
And he's way smarter than I'll ever be. And yeah,
and he goes toe to toe with Steve McRae.
Yeah,
and
he disagrees with Steve very
And
successfully.
I'm not saying he's right, or I'm not saying either one's right, but it's such a high.
No one's successful. No one's
For, you know, for the sake and the nature of this show today, I'm trying to be kind of, you know, chill and cool about it, man, because this is a big milestone for you guys, man. 5,000 people.
Milestone, man.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
YouTube's gonna hate us for divulging how much we're making per month, but we're at the 300, 350 a month level right now.
It could be a
There's
30.
5 ways. So with that 5 ways, I had to give Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ross some
hush money.
I shot them a little gas money, a little gas money, quote unquote, you know, coming to the show. But after the split, I mean, I'm thinking if we double this, if we get to like 10K, we could start. I'm not saying you can quit your day jobs yet, guys.
But you can fucking eventually.
10K is not going to get you there, okay? Trust me. 10K.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Chris.
I just want to give props to some of the believers who have been on the show, just because they're the ones who are keeping things interesting. I mean, we can all atheists get together and talk about how smart we are all day, but I think it's kind of old after 48 straight hours or whatever. Especially people like Josh Elsom and Richard Madsen, who have come on as the sole believer on episodes where it's just been basically them against 5 other atheists, and they've handled themselves really professionally and graciously, and those are the kind of conversations that are a lot of fun. Yeah, Brady and James Walker of Watchmen Fellowship, who we always enjoy talking to them both on and off the show.
Good God-fearing people who are actually good human beings.
And you had the brilliance of Jungle Jorgen on. That was great.
I know you're
magnificent mind he has.
I've really connected with a lot of these believers, and just like Chris was saying, we've had fucking Tim McGrew. Guess who we have on live in person on the 29th?
Who? Jim?
Frank fucking Turek.
Frank fucking Turek.
Well, really? Because he dogged out on us. He was supposed to come on, and he
we got him in person.
He's skittish. Yeah.
I'm betting he saw Aaron Raw hanging out and ran for the hills. Maybe.
Probably. Oh my goodness.
And guess what? I'm thinking him. He's going to do an intro for us. Hi, I'm Frank Turek, and even guys like me watch Atheist Edge. We're going to do that.
Yeah, sure. We're going to get a bumper. We're going to get a fucking Frank Turek bumper.
You should have Kenny Rhodes do it too. I mean, I don't know if you know, but Kenny Rhodes. Yeah.
He doesn't hold any weight.
Frank Turek. Okay.
You didn't like Kenny Rhodes? Kenny Rhodes is a great guy.
Who's our biggest atheist guests we've had on? Matt, Aaron, Dusty Smith, Buying a Dance, Seth Andrews, Buying a Dance, Richard Carrier.
Richard.
All right, so I hate to say it, don't kill me, don't crucify me, so to speak, but those pale in comparison to Frank fucking Turek.
He's a big fucking name, man.
Yes,
a lot
he
of
is.
people. I mean,
Well, no, the biggest name you've had on is Ocean Keltoy. That's the biggest. Come on.
My favorite polytheist.
Exactly. I know, really.
He's awesome. I love Ocean. He's great.
He's pretty chill. I had some mixed opinions on him at first, but we sat down and had a man-to-man. He's a really chill guy.
He's cool. He's cool.
Let me say one more thing. Josh Elson, you guys don't know him. He's local, but he's a pastor of a local church here. We had a 6-on-1. I think we even titled it Daniel in the Lion's Den. And he handled himself. In fact, he could re-upload that video and share it with his congregation as an ambassador of believers.
Yeah.
He was just. I love the guy as a friend.
He's a good guy.
We have a beer together. Everyone on this list. There was no one on this list with the exception of. If you look at the far right,
here we go.
You want to hear the
Sam?
You want to hear the
Sam story?
You want to hear the Sam Cooper story?
We don't need to share the Sam story.
Probably don't need to share the Sam.
This is a celebratory.
Everyone with the exception of Sam Cooper on this list, I would sit and have a beer with.
Fuck yeah.
And so, okay, Courtney.
So,
well, I mean, shout out to our original 4, which would be Jim, myself, Sam, who I guess we're not going to tell that story.
We're not going to tell that story.
And John McGee, he was our original.
Oh, you can't say his last name.
Oh,
You guys,
John.
you gotta edit that out in post.
John was our original benefactor and cameraman and everything. And Aaron Ra was one of the first that we had on the show.
He was the first big name that you guys had.
Yeah, I love.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
I tweeted out, move over, and I tagged Ricky Gervais. I said, move over, Ricky Gervais. Aaron Ra is a big fish that decided to come and help out the little fish, and he is now the hardest working atheist in the business. And guess who liked it? Guess who liked my tweet?
Who?
Ricky fucking Gervais.
What?
I got the screenshot.
No! Oh, that's so cool. I love Ricky Gervais.
He's funny.
I
He's
would have
funny.
fan-rolled the shit out of that.
Dude,
oh my gosh.
I masturbate to that screenshot.
Okay.
And we're back.
If you guys ever,
TMI. Oh my goodness.
if you ever want to watch
TMI.
something low key enjoyable, watch his Derek show.
You guys
I
now have
laughed at that so hard.
Follow up the
Oh
master.
goodness.
yeah. You guys now have a front row seat to what Courtney goes through with all her guys here.
Oh.
See, the thing
It's
with our
fun.
host is I don't care what kind of plumbing you have in your trousers. I treat everyone the same.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
problem.
because if you're an asshole, you're a fucking asshole, right?
Yep.
Let's go. All
Anyway.
right, so
So yeah, so big thank you to the people in the original
yes,
the original four. I would definitely want to thank Holy Kool-Aid, who was a big part of the development of this channel as well. And Steve McRae was a really big contribution as well to making some really amazing discussions on big topics. And then definitely Aaron Ra, Matt Dillahunty, all the people down at the ACA. And what is it?
what else? Man, there's so many, too many
Anthony
people.
Magnabosco was
Yes.
great on our show. I really love what he's doing, and the people that I worked with over at the studio at the ACA, which was on Truth Wanted. That was a really fun day.
What's that
and-
kid's name that you did the show with?
Dan.
Objectively Dan.
Objectively Dan.
Yeah.
Objectively Dan.
He's really, really wonderful. And then I also want to give a shout out to my other adventure on YouTube, which would be the Women of Deconversion.
Women of Deconversion.
Women in Deconversion,
Guys,
which is,
go to
yeah.
Secular Hangouts on YouTube. They're criminally undersubbed. And
This is true.
sometimes that show is broadcast on Shannon Q's channel also, so you look for it there. But it's the first Monday night of every month. It's like 6 or 7 females that just they talk about the 7 deadly sins. They
Cover a range of topics.
They
that are
rank
really
all
fucking on
kinds of
point.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
really good. And
We have a really great time on there. It's really amazing dialogue, and what we were doing earlier on this channel was having a attempt at a civil discourse between women, and that's what we try to do on our channel. We do have disagreements, but we're very respectful of each other, and we get through it. But I think that's one of the great things about Women of Deconversion is you do get some opinions from a very represented population of the atheist community. And so that does include Shannon Q, Mrs. Snarky, Bionic Dance has been on a few of ours. We've had multiple people on there, and we are trying to build that. So I have extended some invitations to more women, and we're going to try and expand to more days and more chat events. And then, of course, Richard Carrier being on the show was a big deal for me because I really appreciate what he does for the academic community.
Hell yeah.
And then, yeah, definitely James Walker and Brady are amazing
Those guys, man.
allies of
Ooh.
the channel and amazing allies of Metroplex Atheist, which is the local atheist group
They've
that
done so much.
some of
for
us are officers of.
And we have
Yeah.
Mrs. President of Metroplex Atheists in
Let me-
our very midst.
Let
Yeah.
me jump in.
I
I
mean,
got one more thing I need to say. I've always been an atheist. I'm a cradle atheist. I didn't actually identify as one until I was 15 years old, but I identified as an agnostic since I was the age of 8. When YouTube first got started, the very first people that I gravitated to were Truth Surge, Bionic Dance, and Dusty Smith, Cult of Dusty. And we've had
Truth
the
Surge.
benefit of having all three on our,
We've had 'em
and
all.
this has been a surreal experience. Holy shit. But Bionic Dance, Truth Surge, and Dusty Smith have all three been on our show, and it's a dream come true.
It's been a real whirlwind.
Yeah.
It's been a true whirlwind experience for all of us here.
TJ, you got any more?
I
We got some time. We'll get back to you.
Let's give props to Jim.
Yeah.
Because
Jim does so much fucking work on this show.
I got to do the Pelosi clap.
Yeah, because we just show up.
We don't know. We show up and we're just like, yeah, we'll fucking be the asshole that's talking and
Hey,
does
Jim,
all the work. You know
Jim, how come when you had Truth Surge on, you didn't have him sing Behind Crude Lies?
Yeah, right.
What a wasted opportunity for that.
Dude, all he does is audio covers of popular songs now.
But still, that was what he was famous for. Behind Crude Lies, a parody on Nephilim Free, and it was one of the greatest videos in the history of YouTube.
I remember it.
Yeah, those big old headphones and stuff.
Yes, it was epic.
Yeah, genius.
Of course, that pales in comparison to his 17-part series on where he compares Homer's Odyssey to the Jesus myth. Oh my God! And I know it's based on an older book, but still, the way he lays it out. Oh, 43 Alley is another one.
Jimmy,
Is he? No, I'm going to keep it on.
We're
43 Alley.
This is the thanks. We're still on.
If anyone knows that 43 Alley is still active, because I would love to get him on the show too. Because that guy, his 10 Commandments video, go. You know what? Get off my video right now. No. Don't.
We're saying don't.
The 23 of you that are watching right now, not 623 like Non Sequitur Show gets.
Yeah, seriously.
But the 23 of you that are on right now, get off and go look for 43 Alley and the 10 Commandments video. It's the best. It's fucking, dude.
It is a good one.
Oh my God. It's so precise. And anyway,
that guy was doing this kind of shit before this kind of shit even existed.
Like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing back then.
Let's see who else. Bert Harbin. He came on. He's local, but he's the president of a Nordic heathens organization, and they practice heathen Nordic religions. And you would think that this guy is the chew in his mouth, Confederate flag, racist. No,
he's not.
He's the good old Southern boy, but they do the Nordic religions and they all do the Odin thing.
The thing that's important to these guys is fucking community, man.
Yeah.
The thing that's important to these guys is fucking community, man. That's what it all should be about. That's what we should be about. That's what we should be promoting. That's what we should be putting out there. Exactly. And that's what we're doing with doing these kinds of shows.
Okay, TJ, do you have any others that jump at you before we move on?
Man, I have a fucking story about every single person on this list.
I literally do too.
So no, it wouldn't work out for us very well if we were to just sit here and regale everybody with the stories of all these people, because it would never end.
This just in, Courtney just broke open a fortune cookie and gave me the fortune, so I'm going to read it to you all.
It's random.
No, I think it applies to everyone.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. An important email will be arriving shortly. Check your inbox.
I'm going to do that right now.
I hope somebody wants to send me.
Is that what you have to add to it to make it?
Chris, do you have any final words on anything that jumps out?
What do you think about all these people?
I've said my piece, but thanks to the viewers, of course.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for fucking watching our little, crazy little, experiment.
Can we all agree? We're not about the money. We're not about the ad revenue. We're not about the patrons. We're not.
Doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt, but.
If we were, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Would you guys do this for free?
We do.
I did for the longest time. Are you kidding? Monetization wasn't even a thing when I couldn't get monetized forever.
What did Steve say? Say it again, Steve.
Oh, back when? I mean, it's very difficult to get monetized. Matter of fact, Non Sequitur took like 6 months to get monetized.
Yeah.
So I had my channel on before I monetized it.
Oh yeah.
Well, when Matt and our got them a little money just for showing up, but March is this month right now is the most lucrative ever, so you guys are going to get a cut. So I'm not saying quit your day jobs yet. Courtney, do you have any final words?
I do want to say a special thank you to Seth Andrews because he hasn't been part of the show, I don't think, but
he has.
Oh, he has.
He narrated.
Oh yes, he has. Yeah, I know we haven't had him like in studio.
No, he hasn't. Yeah, he hasn't been interviewed on the show.
But I did see him last night with Chris and with some other fans of the show, and I've told him this before, but he was the very first podcast about atheism that I ever found as a non-believer. And he is the reason that I found Fellowship of Free Thought, because before I thought that the only atheist groups were connected to universities. And so he had a tour stop that he was doing his book tour of Sacred Cows. And I was such a big fan of his because he was the first atheist podcast I had ever found. And it made me feel so much less alone as an atheist. And so I just want to give a very big thank you to Seth Andrews and to Fellowship of Free Thought, which is a local atheist group in Dallas that's really big on community and outreach.
Yes.
They're the reason that I found the community that I have, and they're also the reason that I found this channel and that I'm president of a local atheist group as well. You know, it turned me into an activist just as much as anything else. So I really love them for that.
And we're so glad to have her.
Yeah, Seth was one of our first podcasts as well, and he was great. I love Seth's sense of humor. He's got a very twisted sense of humor, just like I got, and he really does, and it's awesome. I mean, and I love his voice.
She came in.
He has the best voice for radio of anybody I've ever heard.
Where's
That's
Shannon?
awesome.
Holy shit!
Hi guys! Congrats!
Keeps cutting out.
Oh, am I cutting out? Can you hear me?
Okay, on to the next one.
No, Steve is. His lips are moving. His head's moving.
Okay.
His beard is dancing, but he's not saying anything.
No one needs to hear what Steve has to say.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Let Shannon say a few words.
Yeah. Shannon, what's going on with you guys today? What's going on with y'all? Just let us know what's going on with you recently.
Oh, okay. Well, I just had a really interesting chat with Inspiring Philosophy on my channel about the soul, which was pretty interesting. Immediately followed by having I don't know if interesting is the right word, but having a chat with RC apologist about rape in the Bible. Slightly contentious.
Man.
Did you see that?
Oh, it's good.
I haven't. No, I don't even know if I want to. I can see.
Yeah, it's good.
I do. I want to see it.
No,
I got a little saucy.
Shannon, send a link to the Women of Deconversion chat, and we'll.
No, you haven't seen it yet.
I'll watch it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what else?
and I've got Women of Deconversion coming up on April 1st, which I'm always excited about. With my
We need to pick a
girlfriend.
topic.
Yeah, we need to pick a topic. We do. We're always 11th hour on the topic. And I'm currently working on my next How to Be a Christian Counselor video. That's the next video that I'm going to have coming out.
Put your Christian hat on, apparently, for this segment.
The How to Be a Christian Counselor? No, I put my You Guys Are Assholes hat on.
I've always wanted to know how to be a Christian counselor. I can't wait.
It doesn't take much. You just have enough money to buy a degree.
Imagine.
That's a given hat.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And I just hit 10K, which is pretty cool. Yay!
To be fair, though, she was already big before that.
No,
though.
she started before us. She blew our doors off.
Yeah, she started before
She blew
us.
our fucking doors off.
Yep.
She had 1,000 subs before she had her first video.
My 1 year anniversary will be at the end of May.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, I've almost hit 1 year, and I'm going to Faithless Forum soon, so I'm going to give out so many hugs to you guys.
Now, Suris the Skeptic and I was bigger than him at the last Faithless Forum by about 50 subs, and then he blew past me, and then I blew past him again, and that happened about 2 more times, and now he's double us.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just like Thomas Westbrook, I think it was Thomas Westbrook, he said the last Faithless Forum, he said, a rising tide raises all the boats.
But that's a common expression, though.
So, if you look at Mr.
He didn't make that up. Yeah, that's.
No, you look at Mr. Atheist, make that up. Mr. Atheist with his selfie with this 100,000 sub little thank you from YouTube. Do not get jealous of that because that raises everybody up.
That's
if somebody
right.
else is doing
doing good. Everybody's doing good.
Well,
man.
at
I mean,
least we're all drowning out a bunch of the Christian dribble. So that's
yeah,
Exactly.
There's that.
manipulate
We are
the bandwidth.
strong. We are legion.
Let's
Okay,
so the next thing that we were going to move on to
you need to get
is
on to
the people
Yeah,
that
let's
are
fight. Woo! I came for a fight.
So we've had a few people, right?
Wait.
Like over the years, I mean, the last couple of years, we've done the show. We've reached out to a lot of people in the atheist community. We've had a lot of great people get back to us and agree to do the show with us, and
they declined later.
But
Or said, "Oh, I'm busy."
yeah, or said things that tantamount
So these
to
are-
like, this is an excuse that I'm giving why I can't fucking be on
So
the
these
show
are people
or
who are
whatever.
still trying to get.
Yeah, these are people like we've had people like Ricky, like we've
Do the ones that haven't declined, that haven't said a word. Do the crickets
dude,
and
like
tumbleweeds.
Sam Harris, like we've
Sam
had Sam Harris and Hugo and Jake and TJ Kirk and
Michio Kaku.
and basically every Mormon we've ever tried to get on the
Wait,
show.
Hugo and Jake didn't respond to you?
Every Scientologist we've ever had to get on the show.
What was it, Steve?
Hugo and
What?
Jake didn't respond to you?
No, they didn't respond.
Really?
Here's all the people that did respond.
I'm
that had-
surprised with that.
But we've had other people like that we've asked that actually had legitimate like responses to us and not in the negative. So we've had Devin Tracy, like Atheism is Unstoppable. We've asked him. He says he doesn't do atheist content anymore. He's like really more worried about the fucking political stuff. So he didn't want to be on the show. He declined to be on the show. We had Glenn Beck. He's a big Mormon.
Now, Glenn Beck, actually, I got two calls from his PR people in New York.
Right.
They wanted me to lay out exactly what I wanted to ask him, and I tried to do my best. I think I fucked it up because I was specifically talking about his conversion to Mormonism and why him and his wife chose Mormonism as if they're shopping at a grocery store. It's like they picked it because they need a religion. And I think I came about it wrong, and there's no way the Blaze will ever talk to us again. Maybe Courtney is the president of Metroplex Atheist. They actually reached out to us and her specifically because she's the president. And this was back when Britt was still the president, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Britt was still the president.
Right.
And it was 24 hours had passed and they found someone else. But the Blaze might still reach out to us, but in a different manner. Okay.
I remember that.
There are definitely people that we've extended the olive branch to and asked them to be a part of. Like we have Francis Collins, who everybody knows was head of the Human Genome Project, who is a evolution proponent and still a fundamentalist Christian.
And the head of the
That's a
Steve,
thing.
that's a thing. What is Francis Collins the head of? The International
Human Genome Project.
The Human Genome Project.
Yeah.
No, but
The
he's
National
hurt
Institute of Health.
in National Institute of
Yeah,
Health.
Institute of Health, yeah. But Tim, you got when you're dealing with some of the bigger names, you do have to go through their people. Like even when I deal with like Hugh Ross and Fuzz Ron, and they send you a writer, right? They send you a thing, and that you have a certain stipulations that you have to abide by and stuff. So you have to.
There was no writer.
You didn't get anything.
There's certain
Really?
people we have to show that they will only, like Melissa King Travis and Holly Ordway, refuse to talk to a non-believer. They would only talk to a believer. So I had to get Brady or James to talk to them on camera.
Oh,
Why?
I had to read her book into a microphone for you guys. That was, oh God. I'll never forget her name.
Shannon, remember?
Yeah,
Remember the
yeah.
old days?
Remember that shit?
The Ordway days? Oh, she
Yeah.
was she was shitting a chicken. If you go back to our go to the playlist and, look up the ones that Shannon Q is in, and then go to the end and look up the outtakes, and Shannon is just losing her fucking mind.
I know. There was a couple instances where I saw her fucking, she was keep it together. She was just like, no.
When Shannon
sorry,
loses her
I
shit,
can't
everybody
fucking
has fun.
get it together right now.
I got a little bit agitated. It was hard.
Well, that Twitter Shannon. There you go.
What else do we have? What's next on the agenda?
Next on the agenda is
patrons. A very important part of what we do. People who are basically paying us to do this, who are basically getting
All six of them.
They're getting all 6 of the people that actually pay us to do this. They have a special place in our heart because, man, we never thought anybody would ever fucking give us any money to just like say all this dumb shit on camera. So, and there are people that actually do that. So it's pretty.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
great, TJ. Say it like that.
No.
Who wants to sign up as patron now?
So yeah, they're just like, hey, we'll give you money to
check
do
it out.
this.
But like scientist Mel has half our subscribers, and she has like 5 times the same number of patrons. So we're doing something wrong.
What are we doing?
Because
man?
they're
What are we doing
patronizing
wrong?
the shit out of her.
They're patronizing the shit out of you.
Give us money.
Do you like to be patronized?
I don't have one patron.
Ability. How do you have so many goddamn patrons?
Seriously, what's the secret? What are we doing wrong?
I don't know. To be fair in all of this, I don't have any edgy, heavy, controversial type of topics. I don't really talk about religion or atheism and that sort of thing. I don't get a lot of views from the public like that, but I generate teacher resources. I actually go and do talks. I got into NASA Social, so they invited me out because of my science communication work. I write articles. I do lots of different things. And so there's a little bit of like, am I doing enough for my patrons? So all of like my rewards are always negotiable. So if my patrons, want something, I'll be like, what would you like? And I'll just get it to you. But I do a lot of work. Most of my videos they can easily be streamed in classrooms. I have requests from teachers for content. And then I also have more adult-oriented type of programming that's more of my outreach for adults, like the Spirited Science show that you guys are on, which was
Spirited
awesome.
Science was so much fun, man. I love
That was a lot of fun. And see, that whole purpose of that show is to get people who are not science savvy and say, who do you want to talk about? And then say, I want to talk about, it's like, Jim said, Michio Kaku. And I'm like, fantastic. Here's information on them. Which topic would you like? And then I had other people coming in about the different types of, different things that he had worked on. And we just sat around and had a really good chat. So that is how I kind of work to boost literacy among adults. And also my topics on my Saturday show, I didn't do a show today because I went to Weezer last night. So my show I know, Weezer and the Pixies, man. So I was there last night. Just rocking out, man. I was so happy. Most of my Twitter feed is videos.
Did they do the Africa cover?
Do what?
Did they do the Africa cover?
They did. And I put it on my Twitter, so you can go look at it. But so tomorrow I'm doing the latest climate change science. So a lot of what I do is engaging people in different ways. And I've always streamed to many different platforms. So I have patrons that only watch me on Periscope, and I have people who only watch me on Facebook. And then I do stream to Twitch, and I have people who only watch me there. And so my views are very well divided out across several different platforms. But I don't know. I started out streaming off my phone. So if you want to go check out the early days, I got a whole playlist of when I used my phone, and then I held up pieces of paper and did this. And then we're going to talk about this, guys. Then I throw it up. So I don't know.
Eat your vegetables.
I'm very fortunate that my patrons have been consistent. That I actually go in the hole because I'll pay for ad campaigns on Twitter and Facebook. And so my posts are educational. And so somebody will pop up, why is this silly science joke in my stream? Who paid for this? I did. Now maybe you'll go and check out one of the things that I've done for education. So I don't know. So I am grateful to my patrons for that, but I don't know.
Before we jump on the patrons, Salisa, while you're in here, is there anything going on with the Freedom from Religion Foundation?
They've got a lot of things going on. I don't have it memorized. Sorry. Where
can they go to find it?
their website. Well, I'm actually on. Sorry, I'm an at-home mom. I saw you shoot me this, and I wanted to watch it and congratulate y'all for getting so many viewers. Or, subscriptions. The 5K. That's amazing. But
Thank you.
I've never been on this app before. I had to set up for it, so I didn't know it was like, hi everybody else kind of thing. I've been chasing my toddler. We went to the museum today, so I don't normally. I have to prepare to have questions, to have like answers for things, because unless it has to do with colors, shapes, or numbers for a 2-year-old. And yes and no, I'm not very good, and I'm sorry. I love what y'all do. I'm so glad that y'all allowed me to participate and watch y'all grow, and see y'all. You're totally fun to hang out with, and I appreciate y'all, and also making it easy for me as an atheist. So,
man, we totally don't know how to handle that kind of like positive confirmation in our life, because we're so like self-deprecating in real life.
I'm just seeing all the okay. There's a side chat between the people that are in the panel.
Yeah,
I'm just now seeing
the
it.
papers.
No, Shannon says, "How do you know what I find interesting?" What do you mean, Shannon?
Oh, I was talking to Steve.
We're doing our own thing. Ignore us.
Me and Steve are fighting in the side chat.
I just now
Free drink for
find a way to fight.
atheist mommies. Free drink for atheist mommies.
Yeah.
Atheist mommies.
I don't even have anything to drink right now. Where's my alcohol, dude?
All right,
We're supposed to be the next thing that we're supposed to be doing after we hit patrons is we're supposed to be fucking having a fucking drinking game. Crazy.
Oh no! Do I need to put booze in this? This is just Diet Coke.
Wait, there's not already? What?
There's not.
Oh goodness!
I drink way less than people think I do.
I'm not halfway through.
I'm just warning you. I'm just giving you forewarning.
And I'm like into anime, so I'm kind of like a fangirl too whenever I see people.
Oh my goodness!
So like I've seen all of y'all on YouTube as well, so I'm like seeing faces that I've seen before. So, like,
we're like cartoon characters in your brain, right?
So I'm also like seeing people that I've watched, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. What is my name? I have no
Shannon's
idea.
boyfriend made us into cartoons.
Yes, Shannon's boyfriend made most of it.
Yeah.
Mel's been a cartoon. I've been a
Everybody's
cartoon.
cartoonized. Yeah, he's like the official cartoonizer of.
You know who the next cartoon is, Steve? Do you want to hear a secret?
Sure.
I'm pretty excited. It's going to be Sylphane and Fat Pat from Poisoning the Well.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's so funny. Oh my God, I died listening. They talk for 3.5 hours.
That's awesome.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Let's keep kicking the can down the road. Let's kick this can down the road. So we have patrons, right? And so you started here, right?
Liva Murphy.
We have Liva Murphy.
She just
We owe them a
upgraded.
T-shirt. Yeah.
We owe her a T-shirt. I
We
put
owe
that
her
in
a
parentheses. All right.
Now Butch Brody.
Butch Brody, is that MP, Steve?
Yes, that's MP. That's Nate.
MP is patron of us.
Yes.
Can you believe that?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a patron of mine too, believe it or not. Figure that one out.
Dude,
Oh, is he really native?
Yeah, he has been for a long time. Yeah, I mean,
You guys fought so hard.
you know what? But I think he patronizes me because he needs that. He needs to find
Steve,
something.
your life makes no sense.
I don't know.
For you YouTubers out there that are starting to take off, like little fish, medium fish, big fish, like Shannon and Scientist Mel, the ones that are
big
getting
already. Shannon's big already.
Shannon's huge.
So is Steve.
Just I'm going to throw this out there. In the total dollar number that you get on your Patreon revenue, make 10% of it go back to other YouTubers. Do it. If you haven't done it now, do it. Because we're doing it. Everyone should be doing it.
Seems like a good thing to do, just to be
Pick one.
that guy.
Pick one and patron them.
Yeah. Support your local atheists. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling
All
bad
right.
for PJ. I think like he's getting spit on right there. Pick one and Patreon.
No, just don't cover Jim's mouth. He'll start licking your hand.
I know what Jim does with his hands before we went on air. You guys, if you guys had heard what we were talking about before we went on air, I know what Jim does with his hands and thumb.
I have a general idea.
Oh, I don't think you do.
Oh, no.
We learned a lot of things.
You don't want to have an idea.
It's gonna get to the point where Chris is gonna fucking disown us and be like, "I'm sorry, I'm fucking out."
I'm already disowned.
He's already fucking disowned us. So.
Oh goodness.
And now it's gonna get way worse. Go ahead and get offline now.
Yeah.
But
If
not have tweeted this out and put it on Facebook.
No, just drink some more. Then you'll be okay.
Why don't I have
the
booze?
thing is,
What's wrong
weird
with
thing
me?
is that myself and Chris here, we work on the show and we contribute Patreon money to the show. Why? Why do we do that?
Wait.
I pay you cash and you
They
still
pay us. See, this guy pays us, and we still give money.
I'm still
back
getting
to the
money?
show.
Yeah. No, you don't give any money.
Yeah.
No, you don't give any money.
Then how am I a patron?
He's right here.
You don't give us $2 a month. That
Wait.
it says right here.
You don't. Yeah, that's $2. It's just.
I give $1.99. I had a coupon.
just like Shannon's super chat just now was $1.99. I think it was Canadian, which I think is more than $1.99.
Okay, yeah.
It's not real money. Our money's plastic. Practically monopoly money. Doesn't make sense. I don't even know how to buy stuff when I go to Texas in April. I'm like, how do I exchange currency for goods when I get there? What do I do?
We once got 25 Swedish krona, and I was like,
25
thank you. Thank you, question mark. I don't even know.
Just bring it to IKEA.
How much is 25 Swedish krona? What is that in USD?
Is that a 25 cents? Is that $35?
Don't they use the euro? Isn't it like,
Thank you.
Isn't it like
I was
fake
about to
money?
say.
Isn't it like not real money?
Yeah.
Like, did they give you like Prussian francs?
So we have Freethinker215 as well, who has contributed money to the show. We have one-time cash donations from people such as John McClain,
Don and
Mike Conwell, and Tilda Peacock. So our own Tilda Peacock.
So we do get some one-time donations. Now,
If
you look at our, we never beg for money. We don't do that. That's not our thing.
Yeah.
But if you look at our
Why we don't
description
make any
section,
money.
you can see a PayPal. You can do the PayPal thing. Fuck it. I don't care. Can I be honest with you? I'm a retiree.
Always be honest with us.
I'm on a limited budget, but if this never takes off, dude, I make $4,000 a month just sitting on my ass from being disabled from the war and being retired.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you give. We're still going to keep the show going.
We're still going to do
This is why we don't make money, guys.
This is why we don't get money.
I
Because we
don't
don't
give a
care
shit.
about
I
it
don't
enough.
need your.
Jim, I'd rather have you lie to me and whisper sweet nothings in my ear that you tell me you love me and all that. It's fine. I don't mind.
God damn. Okay.
Does anyone have any final thoughts before we move on to the last thing?
Yeah.
You were saying
Switch
something
seats
I
because I'm going.
We're gonna
Here
do
we
the
go.
embarrassing questions
Yes.
segment.
Does everyone have a drink?
Oh no, I have no drink.
Chris has no drink.
What will we do?
We're gonna fill time by talking to someone
I
that
will
hasn't
regret
talked
this.
lately. Chris, you get yourself a drink because we need to. The final event is embarrassing and wildly inappropriate comments. Everyone, grab yourself a drink and
Oh God!
Strap in because he said that.
What happened? I
am
came in at the wrong time.
I'm never kidding. What we're gonna do is
He's dangerous.
I think I don't want to open up the chat to everybody, but if there's anyone in the live chat right now, we just got a super chat from Scientist Mel.
I'm gonna grab some whiskey for this shit.
Giving back for
I
holy
love
shit.
Courtney.
Holy shit.
Courtney's one of my favorite humans.
What?
Scientist.
Courtney's one of my favorite humans.
What did she say?
She is pretty awesome.
Whiskey for this shit. And Shayna's like, Courtney's one of my favorite humans.
How did you hear that?
She's up there for me too, man. She's like top 10 for sure.
Good taste.
You guys grab yourself a drink. I'm going to try to get a couple more in this chat because I want a full chat. Everyone in the chat right now, Anyone in the live chat, if I recognize your name, even Jungle Jargon, fuck it. Jungle Jargon.
I hope Jungle Jargon never changes.
With this, man, Mel is like giving us money apparently for some reason.
She did. She just now gave us money.
Why?
Why are you doing that?
Science.
I'm giving back for science.
Are we doing the reverse psychology
I
thing?
just don't understand why people would want to give us money to do this.
Did someone say psychology? It's like the back signal.
I actually do try to give
What is happening?
I actually
Don't.
That's so
yeah.
wrong.
Don't not give us not money to talk about not God not.
I don't know. I was brought up in the South, and anytime you go to somebody's house, you always bring something.
Yes.
Like you bring something to eat. So I'm like, anytime I'm on somebody's show, I always try to do at least a super chat, one or two, and be like, this is me.
I'm going to invite you on more, Mel. Mel, come on my channel.
Melody, docs where you are geographically. I do know though, but what's the first thing?
Don't you dare.
What's the first thing we said when we came on your show? Is the first thing I noticed was your accent.
Yep.
Yes, you did.
And I got close, but I'm not going to say where I guess you're from.
I mean, because that's
All right.
a hard accent to.
Here we go. Can I run the show on this? Here we go.
Jim,
Absolutely not.
Marty, get in the driver's seat.
There you go.
Does everyone have a drink?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We're supposed to be.
No.
Hey.
Yeah, ready.
Steve, you got a drink?
I had a bottle last time
Yeah.
in a glass.
Yeah, this is a large cup.
She's my spirit animal right now.
We'll start with our guest first and then the host. I'm going to start with...
It's so strong. You have no idea. Wow.
I have a general idea. What? I'm Nova Scotian. Don't even try.
And I also drink if I answer the question.
This is a lot.
Is there any Coke in that? Or is
No.
that straight
That's
alcohol?
it. No, I just poured that.
Arr.
I remember Courtney from Spirited Science. She don't water down anything.
Oh, thanks.
She doesn't. She doesn't.
This is true.
Courtney, you're going to Faceless Forum, right?
Melody created a
Me
drink
and her are going to hang out.
and it was like way strong. I could not get through the first one. One drink is enough.
I had two that evening. I was working on my second one by the time we finished the show.
Oh,
I was too.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Okay,
my
here we go.
martini.
We're going to start with Salisa. You
Okay.
got a drink?
We're going
Salisa?
left to right. We're going left to right. Let's go. Let's do it.
You got a drink, Salisa?
Okay, yeah.
This is for you. Oh, this might not apply to you. You can just say pass if it doesn't apply to you, okay?
Pass.
And if
What-
you can't answer it or won't answer it, then you got to drink.
Well,
If
find
you
one
can't
that
answer
lasts
it or won't answer it, you got to drink, okay?
Okay.
What video are you most proud of?
Go,
Drink.
move. Yeah.
The
drink.
one
what am
that
I?
you can't see.
You can say this one.
These start out
Oh, we're on a timer.
These start out easy. All right. Now, FairWhisper, what video are you most proud of?
Mm.
So it goes to the next one.
Who is V?
Who is what?
Which it's called Who is V? It's I edited a stream between that was on TJ Kirk's channel
Ooh.
between him and Paul's ego, and Paul's ego went on a monologue about like a paranoid rant about some figure called V because someone accidentally wrote the letter V in the chat instead of control copy. And
All right.
that's my favorite. There.
Oh, Prophet Azad says he would love to come on to the chat right now, but he can't because he's doing mundane tasks. Just, all right.
He's a great human.
No, he's at work probably.
Oh, okay.
Jason, what video are you most proud of? I know you do a lot of Periscope and a lot of Facebook live shit, so.
Oh yeah, man. Actually, the one that I liked most recently was probably your schism video.
No,
Little-
you. We were asking about you.
No, your Your videos.
What are you proud of as a content creator?
Oh,
Yeah.
bro, I barely make any content at all. Listen, man,
You do.
I mean, on occasion, I've had some discussions. I would say probably some of my moral discussions regarding moral particularism, moral relativism, moral objectivity, those kinds of things. I do a lot of study on the nature of belief, things like that. That's it. But yeah, really, I think I've got 1 or 2 videos on morality that I think stand above the rest, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think your thoughts on some of those topics are actually pretty fun, and I've had them I actually have them on my own personal channel.
Good stuff. Melody, what's the video you're most proud of?
Gosh. I think probably. Wow, I have a lot of videos. There's a series that I did that I think I'm probably particularly proud of it. It's a series of 1-minute videos, and there's 20 of them, and they each address each individual cognitive bias, 20 of the most common cognitive biases that we're all subjected to. Do what?
You struck a chord with.
I love you right now.
That's badass.
That is
That's
badass.
her fucking milieu, man.
So, and the thing is they're just little 1-minute videos. Each one addresses, confirmation bias, which is cherry picking, and it talks, and I also have clustering, illusion, just the whole 20 that are the most common. And so they're just really nice little 1-minute videos to where if you needed one, you're like, okay, this is confirmation bias, go. Okay, this is clustering illusion. Here's heuristic availability, recency bias, all of these different ones just kind of. So
my heart. Bias. Mel, why aren't you in Women of Deconversion? I'm just saying.
I've been invited.
I know.
I've been invited, and I said,
right now, publicly, to put pressure on you because it would make me happy.
I thought you guys had to vote. I said I would. So.
Oh, good. Then you will.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm already working on it, Shannon. I got it.
I'm seeing Facebook messages.
Sitting here talking about.
Yes.
Is everybody having a good time? Are we hanging out?
All right,
Is
next.
this good? Is this fun shit?
Shannon, what is your video you're most proud of?
Okay, so there's 2. One in honor of Atheist Today is why I'm an atheist advocate. That in honor of Atheist Day is one of the videos that I'm the most proud of. The one I put the most work into and I'm proud of because I put the most work into it was the first of the How to Be a Christian Counselor videos.
That's a good one. I saw that one.
Because I spent a month and a half researching that video to make sure that it was right.
About a long time, and
Yep.
I really identified with the points that you were making.
That
I was
was-
like,
that
I
was
hadn't
well
thought about
researched.
that in a while, and yeah,
It was well
she's
researched.
absolutely right.
Steve, what is your most the video you're most proud of?
I gotta say, and it probably would be an odd one for you guys, but actually the interview with Mary Schweitzer, that was one of the first times that we actually, that she actually did an interview for quite some time, and we were able to clarify questions with her that I hadn't seen clarified before in prior interviews with her, and she was one of my favorite guests. She came on, and I think that video is still a staple if anybody actually runs across a young Earth creationist using the arguments for soft tissue and all that. And that video should be the one you go check out in her own words, why she's saying that they're wrong and actually what she discovered and how she did it. So I was very proud of that video.
To plug Steve here, that video is utilized in so many other debunking videos. Really, like her speaking towards that topic is utilized in a myriad of it. It's used in a Vice Rhino video, it's used in Apologia video, it's used it's used in a myriad of other videos when people are addressing that topic, because that's one of the only places you can go and get it in her own words. And if it wasn't for Steve doing that, that wouldn't have taken place. So as much as it pains me,
damn it,
in my heart.
Wait, let me change. I also want to add. I also want to add that I'm very proud of the 10 videos that I had. But let's talk about you with Shannon Q and she was a nobody on my channel. And the people were like,
Nobody.
who's
Go fuck yourself.
who's Shannon?
God damn it. That's true. That's true. Steve
those are
gave
good series.
me.
We have to have one more.
Did,
You did
Steve,
good.
I'll do another one. I told you I would.
All right.
But yeah,
Chris,
you give me popcorn. Nobody else would.
On our show, what video are you most proud of?
Oh man, well we just it's not actually out yet, ironically, but
It'll be out in the next week or two.
But in our last round of filming, we did a topic which I've been wanting to do for a while, which was a video about Christian music. Because I grew up listening to only Christian music, and it's looking back on it is just
It's with Aaron Ra and his son.
Yeah, and it's like I had an idea for a segment. I wound up getting Aaron Ra in it and his son, and just
it was awesome. You guys will see it in about a week or two.
You'll have to see it.
This
It
guy's
worked
got so
out
many
way.
jokes.
It worked out so much. Could possibly have dreamed. So I'm really looking forward to
This guy's
unleashing it on the
Funny
public.
as shit.
Oh
man.
my
This dude is
God.
so funny, man.
Spontaneous wit. I cannot.
He's
You cannot.
so funny.
Courtney, what's your favorite video so far that we've done?
I liked the one that I did with Susan Turpin. Because we
Ooh.
talked about Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
And the secular caucus and things like that. And I really do love the Women of Deconversion videos. Any of those that we do end up being amazing conversations. I think one of my favorites is the 5 stages of grief that we did as they relate to deconverting from a religion. So the grief that you go through when you deconvert from a deeply held belief. The things that come out and the humanity that comes out in those conversations is really profound and really amazing. It's always amazing to have those conversations with women.
Yeah.
TJ,
I'm going to actually parrot her and say that the conversation that you and I, the candid conversation that you and I had about sex ed in the South.
That's
was a very, very informative way to talk about sex ed and the way it's perceived in the school system in the United States, especially in the South. And
you guys opened up an avenue of thought that I had never, and I have 2 girls that are in the public school system in the South.
Yeah.
And I never realized until you guys started talking about it, how much this abstinence only bullshit is pervasive.
It really is.
Yeah, it's bad.
And we had an in-depth conversation on that, and it was really eye-opening to me in some respects. Not only just because there are certain things I hadn't thought about yet, but it really just kind of reinforced the fucking opinion that I had already had about that subject already, is that it was the state of sexual education in the United States is a bad thing right now. Like, we're in a bad spot.
We got to bow it up.
We got to do some other things. There are things that we have to hit, some high notes, some fucking things that we have to change fundamentally about the way we get across sexual education in the United States and school systems. So,
All right. So my most, the one I'm most proud of so far, only for the fact that it took me 3 months of editing, reaching out, marketing, talking to people. Now, from the behind the camera version, it took the most amount of time. It took me sitting cat-assing on a chair.
Oh, this is your Pornhub video.
Yeah. Right?
I know what video this is.
If you guys know what cat-assing is, it means where you don't shower for 3 days and you're just editing.
Holy crap.
You're like, and you smell like shit and you know it. You can smell it.
Oh my god!
And I'm just sitting there editing day in, and I wait. And I look in the window, and I think, is someone shining a flashlight on me? No, that's the sun. So I was editing my ass off and marketing and networking Seth Andrews, who is not just up the road from us. He's in Oklahoma, and I got him to agree to voiceover, which. Okay, we're going to toot our own trumpet real quick.
Did you like that? Did you like that Seth Andrews narrated Emperor's New Clothes? Did you guys like that?
Go to our channel.
Awesome?
Go to our channel and watch the Emperor's New Holy Armor. It's an adaptation of the Emperor's New Clothes. Just go watch. You can watch
It
the
was
long
so
version.
fun,
There's a
man.
short version on there. I'm really proud of it. It took 3 months of fucking labor. Okay, next
Jim
question.
Did so much work for
Next
that,
question.
man. Jim did.
We're gonna start with
great on
Salisa. What video are you most ashamed of? Go ahead and drink.
Oh.
What if it was on film?
Probably any film with me in it.
That's good.
No.
Like
That's
I'm
not
ashamed
good.
right now that I'm just being on video. So how's that? I just,
FairWhisper. What is the video you're most ashamed of?
I think it's really tricky because I just recently started making videos in Dutch or attempting to make videos in Dutch as well. And now I have to go through the same process as I did when I started making videos in English, which I'm still kind of in that process anyways, because I sometimes stutter over my words and things like that. And then it's worse in Dutch than in English. But I had a video that I did about the Amsterdam mayor making a decision about letting people decide for themselves whether or not they were allowed to wear full burqas or not, even though it's against the law for them to do so. And I had a rant, and I did it in both English and Dutch, but the Dutch one is a bit different than the English one. So, yeah.
Jason, what video are you most ashamed of?
Personal video? Shit, man. I don't know. Like I said, I've only put out so much content that there's none really that I'm sad of. I mean, I guess I had one where I was talking to some dude. You recommended a video to me, right? So I went over and I did it, and I can tell you right now that in the post chat, I was pretty ashamed of my behavior there. I'm tired, man. You know, I was tired as shit. And just so people know, like, I've never said this before live or whatever, but I actually literally have brain damage. For the longest time, I told, Jim not to say anything, but I actually have left temporal lobe damage. So I have actually like some anger inhibition issues and some things like that.
Now that Jason has kind of opened up the cloud, then I can go ahead and say that Jason, no, this is something that is very pervasive in my community, my military community, is TBI, traumatic brain injury. It's not anything to be shy away from, and we just need to take this. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Not only that, like he did it in service to our fucking national sovereignty.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, man. I'm not. The first thing I want to say, dude, I'm not like a pipe swinging door kicker. Like, that wasn't my job.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean I wasn't swinging any pipes or kicking any doors, but that's not what I did every day, So I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, get the wrong thing. But
Melody, what is the video you're most ashamed of?
Okay, so one time I caved to some of the internet hype associated with a new thing that the kids are doing, and that was Tide Pods. And I did a whole show on the science of Tide Pods and why you shouldn't eat them. So I was just like, this is pretty dumb. So that's probably
You may have saved an idiot's life.
You what?
You may have saved a 14-year-old idiot's life, though, Mel.
Just freaking Tide Pods. It wasn't even a real thing, come to find out. And I did a whole show on it on a Saturday. And I just talked about, Darwin, and natural selection and Tide Pods.
Take all the labels
The
off.
evolution of man with that one.
Oh, my heart. Oh, my goodness.
I didn't talk about the components and how it could kill you, so I guess that's it.
Shannon,
Shannon?
I'm anxious to hear Shannon's video that she's most ashamed of.
Oh my goodness. I'm not really ashamed of any of the videos I posted on my channel, but I'm all over the goddamn place. So the videos that I'm ashamed of are the videos where I attempted to bridge a gap with Max Kolbe. Those are the
Esme.
he has asked me to refer to him as Max, but I respect that because I prefer to take the high ground. But yes, those are the videos that
Who's next? Colby.
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
Oh, that could be a whole
Oh,
another 4 hours of discussion.
Oh.
He thinks, yeah.
Those are like and Steve warned me.
I have, and I still continue to
You
warn
warned
people.
me, and I
Max
said,
Colby
no,
is not worth having a discussion with. It's just not.
Yeah, he said it's gonna
Thank
end
you.
badly, and
Yeah,
I said,
end
no,
badly.
I think
I told
that
you that.
he.
I said that's not going to go well. Mhm.
Yep, and he was right. And you'll never hear me say the word Steve was right again.
Very
but
often
he
with
was
Max
right.
Colby, yeah, when it comes to Max,
Oh, yeah,
yes,
when
I
it
know I
comes to
was right. He is just
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Steve, what is the video you're most ashamed of?
I think it was when I had Matt Powell on, because he laid
I
it
was
out.
in that video.
Yeah, no offense to Shanna. I wasn't ashamed because Shanna was on it. It's just that he really turned out to be something that he wasn't. We tried to help him out. He had emailed me messages and saying that he was really unwilling to learn stuff, and he just turned out to be one of the most despicable, horrifyingly awful people that I've ever had the displeasure of ever engaging with on my entire 6 years on YouTube.
We had honest intentions, though, Steve. We had really honest intentions, and we believed his intentions. So, like, our downfall in that video was that we were naive enough to believe his intentions and think that.
No, I mean, it's that saying.
The intentions were well.
A broken clock is still right twice a day. I mean,
Chris, what video are you most ashamed of?
Well, this isn't really related to atheism, but there may be a video on YouTube of me in college doing a boy band thing.
Yeah, that's winner.
Link in the chat right now.
If it has breakdancing in it, you win.
Shit, I gotta go look this up now.
I gotta see it.
Will not be shared.
Oh.
Oh, but I want it that way.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why.
Nothing but a mistake.
Courtney, what video are you most ashamed of?
I never want to hear you say.
Oh man.
I had karaoke all over.
Courtney,
we need our long boots because the shit's getting.
what video are you most ashamed of?
I would love to see that. There was a video that that Jim and TJ and Steve McRae and I did, where
We were never going to talk about that video. That was our private time. Oh, tell him. Go ahead. Never mind. I'm proud of it. Go ahead.
Full transparency.
I mean, you guys all did fine in the video. It was just me. Like
we were suckling it. The teen of your fucking ultimate.
Was this a gender studies thing?
Oh, you were so drunk. You were so drunk. You don't even. No, she was so drunk. She doesn't remember even getting up and leaving the table and just going.
I don't remember this. What is he talking about?
Okay.
Was it the atheist agnostic one?
Yeah.
So there was a day that that it's on there as I think like you, Steve McRae and Jim and TJ and I talking about atheism versus agnosticism. I think.
I knew it.
It was a great discussion, but I was already.
If we could have.
TJ, I was already 2 martinis in, and I was making my way through the second one, and oh my gosh, I don't remember the conversation. Like it started with me being really funny, like really animated because that's kind of me when I feel like that. But what got really bad was like there was a point where I just started like eating on camera, and then I laid down on Jim's couch and I passed out for 2 hours.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And I kind of joined the conversation, but not really. And then I just start eating, and I keep getting up and leaving. And then I woke up, and like everybody's gone except Brittany's still in the chat with Steve. Like after the live chat, I come back onto camera. And
Like nothing happened. Hey, you know what? And we didn't even know she was gone. We're like, oh, okay. Yeah, we noticed.
Wow.
TJ, what's the most embarrassing? What is it? The video you're most ashamed of?
we had a conversation with jungle jargon, and I was just.
You should be. You damn well should be ashamed for that. The shame. You could take 5 showers and not wash that shame off you, man.
Being an asshole.
It's not in line with what Atheist
He's in
said.
the live chat right now.
I know. He was, yeah.
I was being a mean person.
Okay, I got to keep this ball rolling. I got to keep this
Yeah.
ball rolling.
Sorry.
So Lisa,
And I'm ashamed of that.
if you had, I know you don't have
skip
to.
me because I'm not a creator. I can just watch and drink.
Oh, no. So Lisa, if you had a YouTube
Exactly.
Get out now.
what would be your dream interview? Who would you want on your show?
Oh, if I had a show and I could do an interview, I would love to do Hugo and Jake because they
Jim,
seem like
Hugo
fun
and Jake.
people. So I think I'd have a lot of fun talking to Hugo and Jake.
we tried to get him on the show, but they didn't.
Yeah, they never. They were crickets and tumbleweeds. FairWhisper, what's your dream interview?
My dream interview.
You can pass, and I'll come back to you.
Come back to me.
All right, I'm going to pass you. And I'll come back to you. Jason, what's your dream interview?
Oh boy, man, that's a hell of a question. I actually feel like we accomplished it with Carrier, to be honest.
Yep.
I really feel like maybe we could have dug a little bit more into that one. I really missed the fact that you guys. It wasn't you guys. I'm sorry. I'm not putting it on you guys, but somebody lost the footage for the Atheist Christian book club thing.
Yep, Brady fucked that up.
You remember that?
Yeah. Brady,
So here we have one of the premier mythicists who's a scholar specifically in that field, and he's talking with a bunch of Christians, and I just thought, man, like I'm not lambasting anybody here. I'm just saying, what a missed opportunity.
Awesome. Melody, what's your dream interview?
Oh my gosh, it's just right there, man. Professor Brian Cox from Manchester University. I love him. I say I love him, but really I probably have a diet crush on the dude, and I'm trying to not be creepy. But I absolutely love the way he explains physics. It's just amazing. I could sit there and and I used to play a lot of his videos when I was teaching high school in biology class. I would sit there and he covers the same content as like Neil deGrasse Tyson on Cosmos. But when I would play his stuff, and the guys would be like, I want to watch Cosmos. And the girls would be like, I want to watch, Wonders of Life. And this one girl looks at me and she goes, I just like the way he says things. I'm like, I get you. I get you. Professor Brian, man. Next time I'm in the UK, I might go hop a train to Manchester and crash a physics lecture. So if I'm in jail, it'll be for that reason in the UK. American crashes Professor Brian Cox physics lecture.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I have a bunch of homies in Manchester. We would help you escape before you got caught.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's so nice.
Got you covered.
So what Jim has instructed me to do is to do Shannon next.
To do Shannon next.
So
Oh.
assume
Uh-oh.
this innocent translation of that is that we ask you the question, what is your worst, your most cringeworthy experience?
I thought it was what was my dream interview.
Dream interview.
So aside from hanging out here with us, what is your most cringe?
What? Am I getting asked a different question than everybody else? Because I thought
That's
it was
not
what was your
fair.
dream interview.
It's like, what is most embarrassing?
No. We already did that.
The video
question,
you're
guys.
most ashamed of.
The video that you're most ashamed of.
Which drink are you on?
Yeah, wait. I think did we just go back to time?
We're at Shannon now. Yes,
Guys,
See,
no. You're
I
asking
wasn't
them
lying.
who they would want to, who's their dream person to do it.
Yeah, you're
Dream.
yeah.
Dream interview.
Wow.
Are we all sure?
I'm sorry.
That was so
Yeah, it's
weird.
just like figure out what the hell it is I'm doing.
Wow, I
here,
leave
right?
for 2
Yeah.
seconds to get a drink and take a piss, and
we
Let's
run
thank
into
the patrons.
round.
The whole show goes to shit.
all right, Shannon, your dream interview.
Dream interview.
I've been in a really lucky position where, because of my channel and my affiliations, I've been able to have discussions with a lot of amazing people. Like I've talked to Seth Andrews, and I've talked to Aaron, and I've talked to Richard Carrier. I've had conversations with Saiten Brugen case. I've talked like I've gone well across the gamut. So it's hard, but my dream interview wouldn't actually be an interview. What I would really like to see, and what I'm hoping to set up, and might be in the near future, is having, and this is really personal to me, is having Sai 10 talk to Paulogia about presuppositional apologetics.
Ooh, that would be a fucking bloodbath. That would be a bloodbath.
That's what I want, and that's what I'm trying to make happen. Because I feel like, who would not want to watch that?
No, it would be a bloodbath. I think
It'd be a bloodbath.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd want to watch that. That would not even
really.
Be no, that would not even be a fair.
With me moderating though, if I was moderating it though, I feel like I could keep Paul from killing him, and I could keep Sai from screaming. Like I could. That's what I want. I want to be in the middle of that conversation. That's what I really want.
Steve, what is your dream interview?
Well, I have two white whales.
Wait. I need to pause you. My wife just texted me and said TJ's dog needs to go out to potty.
Okay, let's go, Caesar.
My wife must be watching live, so go take your dog out to potty.
Okay.
Go take your dog.
Does everybody else think I should fucking take Caesar out to go?
Yes.
No, he pees in here.
Okay.
My wife just said Caesar needs to go potty.
Jim.
Go ahead, Steve. I want to hear Steve, so I'm going to go get a drink. Go, Steve. I'm going to get a real drink.
Two I'd like to do. I don't know why. Just because I happen to like some of her videos. Shoe on Head. I wouldn't mind having a conversation with her.
She's funny.
We've had our Skepticon when I wasn't in the episode, but great, yeah, she has some really good. In fact, one of her videos she did, I actually think I got the top comment. Good, it was. She has some good editorials, and I know she gets a lot of crap, but she has some good content. But the other one that I really want to go one-on-one with, or to have a dialogue with, is Jacqueline Glenn.
Glenn, yep.
She's been putting out some information for years that I have some issues with. I would be happy to have a discussion with her. Pimp Monk said he was going to try to arrange that, but he hasn't been feeling well, I guess, or just hasn't gone around to it. But yeah, if Jack and Glenn could ever, have time and wants to sit down with me, I'd like to have a conversation with her over regards what she said on the Rubin report a while back, and I think that'd be a very interesting conversation. So yeah, that'd be my dream conversation.
Chris, your dream interview.
I don't know the dream interview, but I think Pastor Jeffress from Baptist Dallas.
Shit, son, you're
just ask him, like, you need $1 million fountain, or like,
how do you sleep at night?
Really?
Yeah.
And
okay, for you, those of you that don't know, Pastor Jeffress is like one of Trump's right hand evangelistic, but he just happens to have a megachurch here in Dallas, so we protested it before. So yeah,
he's like a Joel Osteen chat type.
Yeah, he's a Joel Osteen type, but he's not. He's
not like the feel-good gospel type.
Yeah.
He's the America-centric conservative.
He's not a prosperity. He's not a prosperity gospel.
He's like Calvinism. Is he like along the lines of Calvinism?
It's First Baptist. They're probably not Calvinist,
but they are definitely Dominionist.
It's like every stereotype about American conservative Christianity.
Yeah, that would be
true.
And he preaches that America is a Christian nation.
Yes, Courtney, your dream interview.
Women that I would really like to have on Women of Deconversion would be Cara Santa Maria.
Oh shit, that's right.
And Lacey Green. I love both of them.
Before or after she red pilled?
Either. I just love her.
You guys know what I'm talking about? All right. Yeah. My dream interview would be, of course, Sam Harris, which would never happen.
Sam Harris!
Yes. But I know I would get just dug under in the weeds of fucking, he's an intellectual black belt. There's no way I could keep up with him. I think my answer would be Joe Rogan, because I know I'm on his par. and I know that
What?
Yeah,
Joe Rogan's pretty smart too. I mean, not you're not smart, but I mean, I wouldn't diminish Joe. Joe can handle
no,
himself.
it takes a certain amount of smarts to know you're not smart, and there's no way I could go with Sam Harris, especially on the things I don't agree with him on. So I would really go with Joe Rogan in case that there's something I disagree on that I might actually win.
We're talking about Dunning-Kruger.
I know who I would interview.
Oh yeah, you're next.
Shannon Q, right? That's your dream one.
No, I've had like a kind of a dream for 2 separate documentaries, but I would need like probably better equipment to do it. So whenever I'm, independently wealthy or whatever, then I would probably do this. I would interview heroin and crack addicts spread throughout Amsterdam. And the other one is I would interview like more recent refugees, not people who are economic immigrants, but actually coming here because of violence in their countries of origin. And so, but I mean, it's not a famous person. If I had to choose a famous person, I think it would be very difficult because I just don't generally idolize famous people.
FairWhisper, say something in Dutch.
Please.
Wat wil je dat ik zeg in het Nederlands? Ik ben nu op een programma. Het programma heet Atheist Edge. Ze hebben 5000 volgelingen nu. En,
the only thing you
We'll
want
assume that
to
was complimentary.
Those were not words. No, those are not words.
the only thing I know how to say in Dutch, it might be Swedish or Dutch. I don't know. Ready? I've got in the 12-inch penis.
I understood that.
I think I understood that.
I understood that.
As an aside, my favorite coffee is Dutch, Douwe Egberts. That is like my favorite coffee ever.
Ready?
Douwe Egberts,
Yeah.
So Lisa, what is your YouTube opposite sex crush? Someone on YouTube that you follow regularly of the opposite sex that you have a crush on? You know what's coming after this question, right? It's going to be same-sex crush.
Well, see, I would know same sex right off the bat. But
No, don't do same-sex. Do opposite-sex crush.
Anyway, whoever you're attracted to.
Well, no. Well, of course.
We want to hear it.
Same sex, I would probably have to say would probably
No.
be-
Only do
opposite
opposite sex. Okay.
No, just let her say.
Okay.
Sorry, opposite sex.
You know what? Fuck it. Do opposite and same-sex crush. We'll knock it all out at the same time.
All right. Opposite sex would be probably anybody that's a K-popper. I see a Korean guy and melt. It doesn't matter who it is. I will watch his stuff.
You like Koreans?
Yes, I am so into Koreans. And then the same sex would be Jacqueline. I love her red hair and she's so cute.
Oh, we're gonna have to fight. We're gonna have to fight for her.
Yeah,
Fight over this.
probably,
Duel at Dawn Sabers.
FairWhisper, what is your opposite and same-sex crush on YouTube?
my opposite sex crush is Ariel Scarcella.
Okay.
And my same-sex crush is Lainey Bot, Onision's partner.
Onision.
His partner. His partner.
Jungle Jargon. Glad to have you on the channel. What is your opposite and same-sex crush on Atheist YouTube channels?
Who do you like, man?
Well, it has to be Atheist YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Or it has to be YouTube.
Ah, fuck yeah.
Oh, are we your same-sex crush? Or
It
we
has to be YouTube. We won the award. We
just won the award. What's your opposite sex crush?
Well, I don't really have a crush, but I like. There's a conservative person that does some YouTube videos. Her name is Courtney, but she's like a psychologist or something.
That's her. This is her right
No, it's another. I think it's another Courtney. I think it's another.
She has a psychology degree.
She's pretty cute.
I don't know if it's
She's pretty cute.
I don't think it's the same one, but
Girls with psychology degrees are hot as fuck. Just saying.
she's very conservative, though. She's very conservative.
It's like the entire atheist edge people.
All right, Jason, what's your opposite and same-sex crush on YouTube?
Oh boy, opposite crush.
Remember, guys, if you don't want to answer, you can drink.
Jason likes
What?
Jason likes me.
Is he gay for you?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna throw it right back. I'm so gay for you, TJ.
He probably.
That's a given, though. That's a deep. That's a
Yeah.
default.
Yeah,
That's a
man,
I don't
that's
know the
super-
difference
super gay
between
for TJ.
opposite and same at this point.
Yeah, I don't think that distinction was made clear. But by opposite, you mean opposite gender?
Biological sex. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Man, actually, you know what? Yeah, like before in the past, like I've really liked Courtney's face. I'm saying that straight up.
You got a pretty mouth. What does that mean?
You got so many votes
She's
already.
cute. She's got a cute face, man. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
she's
yeah, put her on
adorable.
Atheist Edge more often. And that's not even a surprise because I already told TJ that a while ago.
Oh yeah. That's
These are the hosts. They don't count. We all have crushes on them. Given.
Fucked up, man. You're gonna eventually be the face of it. You already are the face of Atheist Edge. You know that, right?
Like, kind of the mascot. Yeah.
Fuck, man. She's our flagship. Oh, you know what? I don't mind being production manager. Fuck it. I don't care. All right. Melody, opposite and same sex atheist YouTube crush.
Oh gosh, I think Professor Brian is pretty out as an atheist. He makes fun of people regularly. So yeah, I crush on him pretty hard, and I watch a lot of his videos for science, of course.
Right.
For science. Probably same crush. I don't know if she's an atheist or not. She might.
Oh,
be.
it has to be an atheist.
Does it have to be an atheist?
Atheist.
I don't know.
Anybody, because I have people.
Well, I mean, okay, so brief brain fact. She's really cute and she's a neuroscientist and she makes fantastic videos. And she's been on my show a couple times. So I've watched a lot of her stuff. So she's cool.
Shannon, same sex and opposite sex YouTube crush. Atheist.
I'm really busy trying not to be hurt that I wasn't anybody's crush right now.
You're like a sibling to us. That's why.
I'm trying not to internalize
Yeah,
that.
it's like that's
but
just
that's fine.
yeah, it's just like sibling rivalry. That'd be really
So opposite sex crush. I think it's obvious that it's Pelagia. Duh.
Well, of course. It's your man's.
Boring. Boring.
Same.
Boring though, yeah.
Would she be jealous if I say Pelagia too, just out of curiosity? I'm not going to know, but
It makes sense. More people should, really.
all right, fair
He's
enough.
a big, strong, handsome man.
Well, I
And
was gonna do Pelagia as my opposite sex crush.
both of them.
Like I said, what's the difference anymore?
Yeah, all of them. All of them. And for my same sex, I'm going to go with Courtney.
That's
Wait till I get to Dallas, Courtney. When I get to Dallas, wait.
Just getting on the bandwagon, Shannon.
She's just fucking great wagon.
Don't make her head any bigger than
She
what it
needs a
is.
tiara. She just went
Oh.
homecoming queen. Leave the
Yeah.
girl alone.
Because I
man.
know
God.
Courtney,
Yeah.
and I know that her and I would have fun.
Steve,
Oh, I'm sure you would.
Steve, your
Shannon,
opposite. Oh.
Shannon, you, me, and Christine, we can make it happen.
Oh.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could.
Oh my goodness.
Conversion.
Yeah, we
That
could.
would be the highest weighted deconversion. Women in deconversion ever.
Wow.
Steve, your opposite and same sex YouTube atheist.
Yeah, well, I'm a guy, so any female atheist out there will be satisfied with that condition.
Be specific, goddammit.
But no, okay, well, I mean, I'll give Courtney her due on that. It's fine. I'm gonna go with.
Another vote against.
No, but that's kind of a given. I mean, it's not really that much of a difficult question on that.
Me.
But I'm gonna go with
Courtney rules.
Courtney rules. She's adorable. What can I say? But I'm gonna go with Astro Athens. She's just, and Jacqueline, Glenn, of course. But if you guys want to ask for Athens, she's been on our show. She does science communication and a model. She's actually a professional high end model. Her, and if I for my same sex, I would probably go with Eric Murphy because I would wreck him.
I'm messaging Eric right now.
If I was into that, just saying.
I have to. It's not even an option. I lost my earphones. Oh god damn it! Right now.
Chris, opposite and same sex, atheist YouTube crushes.
So I mean, I also don't watch a lot of atheist YouTube unless I'm being hypercritical of my own videos. If I can expand out to like general YouTube for our purposes. I do watch a lot of British panel comedy shows. And there's the comedian Aisling B, I think is how you pronounce it. She's Irish and attractive and funny and whatnot, so all that works in her favor. Same sex, maybe go with John Green from the Crash Course YouTube.
Yeah.
Your reference. I don't know this. Do you know this?
John Green? Oh my God. He does a SciShow and Crash Course, chemistry. But I used a lot of his videos in my classroom, and he actually like missteps a couple of times in a few of them. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter. As soon as he says something wrong, then there's like a little card that says, by the way, it's actually this. I'm like, okay, then I don't have to correct him.
Courtney, same and opposite sex atheist YouTube crush.
Okay, so within the atheist community, same. It's got to go to Shannon Q.
The award, right? Just won the award.
But I want to point out, outside the atheist community, there's this girl. Her channel and her name is called Stevie, Stevie. She's gorgeous, and she's a like lesbian sex ed YouTuber, and I love her. And then let's see. So opposite sex, I gotta go with Cosmic Skeptic. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Alex. I knew it.
He'll be a
He's so pretty.
Alex O'Connor. She loves her some Alex O'Connor, boy.
They've known that for years.
And guess who's showing up to Dallas at Faithless Forum next month?
Be there. And I'm gonna try to stay in one corner and not.
I'm gonna drag you right to him. I swear to God. Okay, like, have you met Courtney?
It's gonna be all right.
Oh boy.
So then outside the atheist community for male one would be this guy. Dylan will not participate. He's really pretty too.
TJ, sex atheist YouTube crush.
Jacqueline Glenn is such a fucking hot specimen.
He's really pretty.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I just don't
make me fool you. Rapers of Dawn.
The fake silicone boobs just don't
care.
Don't bother me at all.
All right.
Matter.
I'm not okay. Sorry.
She's just
nobody shaming.
She's not only is that she's such a like a perfect specimen of a fucking female. She's down to earth. She's like really fucking down to earth.
Yeah, you
and
got that.
Like it's so attractive the way that she interacts with people. It's just like she kind of pulls you in. There's no way that you can get out of her gravity without
Same sex.
Same Devin Tracy, man. Fucking
Have you seen what he really looks like in real life?
Dude, if I had a
he's
dude
a
that
bald,
was like, hey,
pasty.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
It's down to piss and does a lot of shit.
All right, mine.
But I mean,
mine, opposite sex. Godless Iwin, don't get mad at me. Mrs. Snarky.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm into redheads.
We got some women in
Redheads.
the shout out.
Yeah.
I'm into redheads. Mrs. Snarky is it.
Love it.
And sorry, Godless Iwin, I apologize in advance. Opposite sex is Dark Matter 2525 because he's the only
he's really good.
The only atheist YouTuber with cauliflower ears that I know has fought. He's fought and he knows how to handle himself. And he's probably the only atheist YouTuber that can beat me in a fight. And I just want to snuggle and do his warm titties.
Oh my
Have you ever talked to him? Have you ever had a conversation with him on Atheist Edge?
On reach.
Oh, wait. What did you say,
Have
Shannon?
you ever? We had him on Heathen Hour. He is just the sweetest person. Have you ever actually talked to him?
No, I've never talked to him. I would love to.
I have on Twitter, yeah.
You ever talk to
Just
him?
about the nicest.
I would like to snuggle between his firm titties.
No, we're just.
Hey, I would feel
No, really. He's good people.
Please tell him that we would love to have him on.
I talk to him all the time. He's good people.
So, Lisa, I'm sorry to hit you with the new questions right off the bat. You can pass it off, and I'll hit you up
I've been
later.
drinking anyways.
I am now too. I put rum in this.
This next question applies to people who don't have more than one person on their show.
Okay.
All right. So it might not apply to anyone except Atheist Edge. So it might just be us. You can pass it off. But if you have more than one, if you have more than one host on your show, if you were the only person that could host the show, what would you do differently than what the show is doing now?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own show on Saturdays by myself. So.
And I have my own show all the time.
I had a show with
All right, so
on it.
Lisa, I expect you to drink on this one. Are you going to drink?
So Lisa's drinking.
FairWhisper, do you have anyone besides yourself on your show?
I did, but I will when I do have a show again, which might happen and might not. I will definitely do something differently.
Jungle Jargon, are you alone or do you have a co-host?
Yeah, I'm by myself, but
All right, Jason, do you have anyone on your show?
Nah, man, never.
All right. Melody, you're by yourself, right?
Pretty much. I do have people come in on my other shows, but it's pretty much just me.
Shannon, I would hesitate to guess that I know Pelagia does your editing, but you're pretty much alone, basically, right?
Paul does most of my editing because my computer's a piece of shit and I can't hold editing software on it until I get a new computer. But yes, he does.
All right. Steve,
thank you for that.
If Kyle was not a part of the show, would you do anything differently?
He has his own channel.
I have my own channel too. But, I mean,
and you just blew past me like as soon as I said Pelagia edits my videos. Fuck my life, Hangout.
do you want to continue more, Shannon? Do you want to continue more?
No, I put rum in this, and now
Okay.
I'm off.
He answered for you.
What I would do different is only the fact that what I do on my own channel, what we do a lot of superficial stuff for the most part on non-sec. We don't get a lot of the detailed science stuff, and on my own channel, we get a lot more in depth with the experts and going. And that wouldn't work obviously for non sequitur. I don't think the audience, that's not what it's tailored to, but I still would like to go a little bit more. Like when we had Lawrence Krauss on, I was actually able to have a real conversation in the terms of physics. And I love that. I mean, and I could see it in Dr. Krauss's eyes. He was beaming that he was getting asked questions that weren't stupid. I was afraid. I was like, I don't want to ask him really dumb questions, you know? So that's the only thing.
Any question any person asked him would be dumb.
If I go back a sec, I do have an in real life crush, and she's in the live chat. If you don't know who that is, but I actually do have a real.
Sweet Heathen live chat. I love Sweet Heathen. Now I'm watching
I have a whole lot, man. Is there anything that you guys have really ever like butted heads on? We want to. I think me and I can speak for a lot of other people that like because you guys have a certain kind of chemistry on the show. Like I'm wanting to know like if there's anything you guys never like really vigorously disagreed on and what became of it.
Oh, question.
Oh, me and Steve? Oh,
yeah,
God.
I mean, I just want to know.
That's a good question. That's a great question.
Well, me and Steve will take up the rest of the show.
Oh, yeah, we can.
How much time do you have?
Is this an 8-hour stream?
Oh, yeah. How much time you got, buddy?
It probably is. It probably will.
Okay, hey, right quick.
And just pick one instance that's prominent in your mind and tell us about it.
Somebody else is trying to say a thing.
Just real quick, I got to bounce. I got some stuff to do with the gals.
All right, man.
So,
Thank
but
Thanks, Jason.
hey, man, 5,000 views, dope. It's fucking sweet. You guys are the best, and I will talk to you later.
Yeah.
All right, later, man.
That's a true blue motherfucker right there. All right.
Hell yes.
I'm saying bye to you guys. Love you all. I'm excited to see you at the Faithless Forum, Shannon.
Did Steve give us?
You're gonna get hugged so hard. I hope you're ready. Get armor. I'm gonna hug you so hard.
Sounds like you're gonna get more than just hugged.
You are.
Yeah.
You are.
If there's not a video of it, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
Although it might not be appropriate for YouTube.
A one-time donation. Thank you, girl.
Bye, Courtney.
We love her.
Thank you, Courtney.
Love you.
I love Courtney.
There went the face of Atheist.
And there
Edge.
goes.
So now we are.
And now the
there
views
goes
Oh God, there goes all the reason.
Now that the men have taken over, manly power.
Did Steve finish this?
Yeah, I finished.
Answered yet.
And I'm pretty sure there's other girls here. Just saying.
I had to go get another beer.
We're gonna
good girl.
What was the new question?
We want to know.
The new question is what's mine and Steve's problem?
What's your worst disagreement, Shannon? And
Okay,
Steve?
here's the preface to this. Steve is somebody that I will always respect and admire. When nobody knew who I was or what I was doing, Steve messaged me and was like, "You need to have a voice, and I'm going to make sure that you have one. And I want to host this thing. I want you to do this thing. I want you to do Shannon Q Talks to you. And I want to find people to talk to you because I know that you're going to be something amazing." Steve sent me those messages. Steve deserves all of my respect and admiration for that. And I do not take that for granted at all, ever. And I never will. But sometimes Steve pisses people off. Almost seemingly on purpose. And I'm in the middle because Steve is one of my good friends who I want to defend no matter what. But when I watch him call people idiots, and I'm like, oh my God, you could choose a different tactic.
Exactly.
I hear that shit.
Choose a different tactic. You could disseminate the same information without calling this person an idiot.
Fuck yeah, exactly. That's the atheist.
I'm with TJ on this. Me and TJ we're a little more vitriolic with certain people, and it depends on the format.
But that's not who I am, though.
Right? No, and I get that.
An awkward motherfucking situation.
And I get
because
that.
I'm all about positive dialogue and elevating discourse.
Yes.
And here I am, super duper best friends with Steve McRae, who is like, "Fuck you." Guess what? You're an idiot.
But hang on.
Who's an idiot? You are an idiot.
And by the way,
I was wrong. Fuck you, also, and you're dumb.
And by the way, I'm so glad that my predictions had come true. I'm so glad that what I saw was the case, and I'm very glad that you did meet Paul because of my channel. I think that was one of the greatest things that came out of it. You guys are like a power couple. So.
Because of your channel, but sometimes you do stuff, and I'm like,
but when I'm on, but here's the thing: when I'm on YouTube, I take more of your approach. I really do. If you lately, especially
but when you're on Twitter, you're like, "Who's the dick?
Because
you're a dick.
Right. But
who's stupid? You are."
But here's the thing: Twitter is my justifier. This is because I have to hold it in on YouTube so much. I gotta let it out somewhere. Okay.
No.
TJ gets it.
No.
TJ gets
it.
TJ like this.
I have a solution. Every time he does that, you just need to send him a tweet saying the exact same thing that he just said to whoever it was to him.
Just get him a swear
You'll
jar.
feel better.
Put in a mean tweet jar. He has to put in $1. And then he has to